Hey kids. We're live.
It's alive.
Let's refresh the page. See that we are live. Recording live to tape. Talking about our studio broadcasting experiences and the signal flow to get the microphone to work. Did you guys watch any television this week?
We did watch the Dune thing. The HBO Benny Gesserit Dune thing.
Okay.
I can't recall what it's called. Dune Prophecy or some shit. I don't know.
The HBO property Dune Prophecy.
I'm not seeing any of the people. Machine Lies. Is it?
Emily's here. Hello, Emily. Modern Old Soul is here. What's up?
Emily Moyer?
Yeah, in our chat.
Hey, Emily.
Yeah.
Love you. Hey, Laura.
So
we just had a fire show that Emily's going to release in upcoming. That was super exciting. I think it was a really excellent talk about it was a continuation of the Element series, and it led off into some more metaphysical areas that are really good stuff that we working on tying to the elements. So it was fantastic.
Looking forward to seeing that. Our regularly scheduled debate program is stalled due to inclement weather, or what is the reason for not talking reparations tonight?
Well, according to the individual that was supposed to talk to us about reparations tonight, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Just jump right in.
We were off camera.
The two of us, anyways. So I mean,
welcome to the stream, Steve.
But Nico has life shit he had to deal with. I understand that. I've had life shit I've had to deal with. I get it. I ain't mad. I do think that it's shitty that we're now like 3 weeks in a row ducking this conversation. So I would like to put forth to anyone watching right now, if you would like to have a sincere, honest, genuine, thought-provoking, fact-based conversation with us about reparations or anything that entails around that, please hit us up, because we're here for that. We're just trying to put forth ideas and conversation. We'll figure it out. We will. But we're not backing away from anything, and we're not trying to get out of anything. We're in fact trying to make sure that these conversations take place, because I think they're necessary and important, and people will walk away from them enriched.
We were talking about the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. Is that an example of black on white hate or white on black hate? Was there any aspect of race or color introduced into that conversation?
No, man. And that was grifter on grifter fucking violence. You kidding me? Yeah, okay. The way that contract was structured in the first place, going back to June Mike couldn't knock out Jake Paul in the first round or he wouldn't get paid. Mike couldn't knock out Jake Paul in the second round or he wouldn't get paid. In fact, the way the contract was written was that Mike had to go all 8 rounds. It had to go to a decision, and the decision had to go to Jake Paul. Otherwise, Mike didn't get paid. So if you're 58-year-old Mike Tyson and you know that you have a $20 million payout on the end of it, as long as you don't beat the ever-loving tar out of this 27-year-old idiot, what are you gonna do? I get $20 million if I duck, bob, and weave and throw 16 total punches for the entire night, because that's what he threw according to the judges. 16 punches from
I think he landed 16 punches. I don't think he threw 16. I don't think he threw very many. It was like 30 or something, but 30 or 40, but I think it's 16
you
landed
16 punches. You're the best knockout artist the whole entire world has ever known.
So I mean, let's be real about that though. This is part of where reality's crashing in on the bullshit that so many people who have been living in TV land and computer land, when they meet, this is where the rubber meets the road. Mike Tyson is an old fucking man. It's all awesome to look really good in a training video for a second, but then when you go out and you get hit in the head, especially for a guy who's been hit in the head a whole lot in his life. So he was definitely had punch drunk sickness. Now to re-experience that as an old man, the first time somebody hits you hard upside your head, it's a bad situation for anybody. Like, I know that personally, I was a hard ass when I was young. I did a lot of shit. And I joined the army when I was 17. I used to get freaking drunk off my ass and sleep on the straight up on the cement, and you'd wake up, pop up fine the next day and go out and run around. Like, now I also know that Christy and I just went to Flattoberfest, and on a nice actual mattress from the store in the back of a truck set up like almost like glamping. It's not really glamping compared to what most people do, but to me it is. And just like sleeping wrong for a night handicaps you for like you're limping around like for 4 days. And I'm not and Tyson's got 10 years on me.
I would like to and I think Alan.
Yes.
I think this is you.
Is it me?
Gets to pull this up. This is what the whole fucking fight was. What?
You want me to hold my phone
Oh,
up?
it was gross. It was a bad fight.
Maybe
Don't
it's
get me
been,
wrong.
I don't know, dude. I can do that too. All right. Okay. Here we go. This is what the whole fucking fight was, Ben. The entire fucking thing.
Oh, that was the worst piece of crap I've ever seen.
Oh my God, that was an abomination. That was
Dude, my ass is actually sore. My ass is actually sore.
It was. I don't disagree for even a second, but I wouldn't have assumed that a fucking 60-year-old man could jump in with a 27-year-old man and give him and throw him around and do well with it. Even Randy Couture, who was like 40.
Oh, come on.
They were like, this guy is way old. I can't believe this guy's still doing. That dude was 40. Not 60, 40. And you know how hard them 10-year jumps are between
George
40 and
Foreman
50
won a
and
fight
50 and
at
60?
42 years old.
The grill guy?
George Foreman is a giant. Mike Tyson was a very small heavyweight who had relied on quickness.
285, dude. He's a fucking refrigerator.
He's a very small heavyweight. Foreman's a giant dude.
So I know George Foreman from selling the grill on television. I know Mike Tyson from a Punch-Out video game. I think it came out in 1987. Jake Paul was not alive when Mike Tyson's first video game was released.
It was such an excellent game, too.
Is still fighting. Do you think Jake Paul has got a long-lasting career in boxing?
Dude, I saw that Butterbean's trying to call him out. Like, Butterbean, are you kidding me? You're old. You're at least as old as Tyson, and you damn near died, dude. You got so fat, you had to go on this huge journey just to get hip surgery. Do not fool yourself. You cannot jump in with a young man. That is dumb. Like this weird nostalgia thing where we act like these people that were legends way back in the day. Like this is no different than when Royce Gracie and Matt Hughes fought. And Gracie, yeah, he took what, 3 out of the first UFCs? Not as an old man. Matt Hughes mopped the floor with him.
I didn't see the fight. I heard a lot of people talking about it and the significance of the viewership. They're saying, 60 million or something. They were trying to throw some numbers together to say just how influential and how widely viewed around the globe this fight was. And then we were talking about the buffering issue. Was this streamed through Netflix?
Yeah, no, Netflix said, we got this. We'll fucking handle it. We'll take care of it. And then all of a sudden, not even remotely.
Was it a password issue? Was Netflix just checking everyone to make sure that they weren't sharing accounts?
No, it was there were literally 60 million plus people trying to access that shit all at the fucking same time, and Netflix had no answer for it. And that's okay. It is. It really is. The thing that I'll always fucking fall back on is this. Right before the entire fight took place, Mike Tyson gave an interview to a teenager.
Was he wearing pants for this?
But what about him dying?
Wearing pants for it. This is what Mike Tyson said to the freaking teenager. Okay?
That's a teenager?
So he's...
In your return to the ring for this fight, you are setting a monumental opportunity for kids my age to see the legend Mike Tyson in the ring for the first time. So after such a successful career, what type of legacy would you like to leave behind when it's all said and done?
Well, I don't know. I don't believe in the word legacy. I just think that's another word for ego. Legacy doesn't mean nothing. That's just some word everybody grabbed onto. Someone said that word and everyone grabbed on the word, so now it's used every 5 seconds. It means absolutely nothing to me. I'm just passing through. I'm going to die, and it's going to be over. Who cares about legacy after that? What a big ego. So I'm going to die. I want people to think that I'm this, I'm great. No, we're nothing. We're just dead. We're dust. We're absolutely nothing. Our legacy is nothing.
Who's playing the piano?
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. That is something that I have...
All I hear is the
piano. I don't know
piano.
who's playing the piano.
You really imagine
that live piano?
John Legend. Let's say John Legend is playing the piano.
That was Elton
John.
Okay.
That does make it better.
Okay, Alan.
Elton John's playing the piano.
Stevie Wonder is playing the piano for this.
Okay.
All right. Will that make it any fucking different?
You're dead. Why do you want somebody?
True.
You think somebody really wants to think about you? How? What's the audacity? I think I want people to think about me when I'm gone. Who the fuck cares about me?
We just want to know who's playing the piano.
kids,
Are they
man.
crediting the piano player? Because you know, we want to reduce the ego and the legacy of Tyson by playing piano music over him while he's speaking, and then not crediting the piano player, who's probably more important than some guy who's, you know, old and had a video game 30 years ago. Can we check the Riz on that guy?
To me, the whole thing is very symptomatic because now you look, Jake Paul is now claiming, and all these kids are claiming he's the face of boxing. And you did nothing. You did nothing. It's all fake. Like everything today is so full. Like, you know, video gamers think they're warriors. Everybody's LARPers. They aren't even doing live LARPing hardly anymore. It's entirely LARPing from their homes. Like, and that somehow makes them equivalent and gives them equivalent knowledge and things like that. You look at so many of the people that are doing shows anymore. They aren't like 6 years ago, 10 years ago, people doing shows had either they had their own research or they had connections and brought on people that had their own research and whatnot. Most of the shows now, it's just a cult of personality. They aren't even relying on research, don't even know researchers. They're just giving a take on some other show that somebody else did from years ago at best. And half those people, the show that they're watching, that dude probably didn't even do the research half the time. Like, we're so far from actual researchers, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Why research when Chat GPT and the large language models have read every book and have access to every book ever published through Google's book scanning program? We were wondering, why was Google buying every book, cutting the spine off, and then scanning every page? Well, now we kind of know what they were planning for. They had the goal of building the large language model, to have the largest large language model, to have access to every published book available to them. And then they gave it to us to play with, to see what questions we would ask it. And are we asking the deepest questions? Are we trying to solve the mysteries of the universe, to do the research that we couldn't do because we didn't have access to the Vatican Library that Google now seems to have?
Tyson's such a weird dude. Like, could you imagine saying that to a kid? I can't believe that was even a teenager. I thought she was like 10 or 12 or something. I don't know. Like, it's like, wow, that's some wild stuff to say to a kid. Real wild stuff to say to a kid.
You think that person's going to deal with the issue of never interviewing someone bigger than Mike Tyson for the rest of her life? She's maybe 17, 18 years old. She interviews the largest celebrity of her life, and then after that, anyone else.
And he flat tells her I don't, and he hits her with complete what do they call that?
Humbleness.
No, well, humbleness, yeah, but I mean, it's definitely a humility to it, but at the same time, he's having an existential crisis where, it's like he realizes he's going to die, that it doesn't, anything he's done really doesn't matter.
She could be his granddaughter.
These are the things that's going through his head, that the minute he's gone, that nobody's going to be his, nobody's going to care about him anymore. He's going through an existential crisis.
And she's just trying to get to the interview.
Yeah. Well, and he is at the end of his validity. Yeah, he was already too old for what he did. He was too old when he did it with Roy Jones Jr. And that's the thing everybody's not talking about either. The Roy Jones Jr. fight from 4 years ago, he didn't look good in that either.
I don't know. Roy Jones Jr. Does he have a video game? Has he been on a Wheaties box?
In my opinion, Roy Jones Jr. was the greatest of all time. That dude was a mad beast.
My apologies to Ray Jones for not knowing who Ray Jones is. Does he have a barbecue sauce, like a hot sauce?
No, I don't know.
Well, then what's his importance?
Well,
If he doesn't leave a legacy on the
long
product.
before he was on the Matrix, motherfucker. He was a captain.
He was in the Matrix movie?
Yes. Because he's super famous. The guy long before Conor McGregor or any of these guys, Roy Jones Jr. I think held the title in 3 or 4 different weight classes.
Mm-hmm.
The dude was just a mad beast, and he beat up everybody in his natural weight class. Anybody that would come, like, made him look silly. Went up a weight class, did the same thing. Went up a weight class, did the same thing. Like, he would literally go and lean back in the turnbuckle and just put his arms up, and the guy would come in swinging, and he would just start ducking and dodging, and then just whap, smack him. Like, the guy had enough power that he dropped at least one fighter with a body blow, just a singular straight body blow. Like, he was just insane fast. He didn't do great when he got up to heavyweight. He did win one heavyweight title. I think he didn't. I think he lost the rest of them, though. Maybe he won more. I don't follow sports that much, but
no, that's okay. No apologies for not following the sports. I was in the Target store the other day and just looking at everything available just to see what is available for me to purchase. And they had a pack of baseball cards, and I think it was like 36 baseball cards from 2024. And I thought, well, I could buy this for maybe $8 and have a bunch of cards. And then if I were to open it and there was no Minnesota Twins players, what would I do with the rest of the cards? And I don't have any friends to trade them with. So even if I were to buy a pack of baseball cards, I would just be left wondering, well, what do I do with these now? I have baseball cards from 1993 that I still remember. I can envision them in my mind.
Do what
I know
everybody
exactly
else does with them and put them on eBay and hope somebody buys them someday.
The 2024 baseball cards, they'll probably be rare because people haven't. That's the report. Yeah,
that's the report. All right, Project Cheney on her way in.
That's the report.
And yeah, that poor girl did go through deep reflections about her life. Like, this fucking guy that is in movies and has his own video games and was the world champion and, you know, the youngest champion. Like, to hear him say things like that, that's got to be like, she's thinking, you know, he's king of the world. And this was before the loss that he gave that interview. But he didn't even look like when he was walking down the ring, he did not look fiery. He did not look good. He had a limp.
Yeah.
Oh, I might have somebody.
So it's not elder abuse if you give them millions of dollars. Has there been any pushback as to the event even happening to say that this should not have happened or this is dumb, or if people just either not cared or watched it because everybody else was watching it? They were comparing it to the Super Bowl. A lot of commentators. They were saying in terms of single viewed events, this was like Super Bowl level. And the amount of advertising and build up to this event have been pretty big. I don't know if there are any other events on the calendar that will be of equal size in terms of watchability, the audience, the viewership, the Nielsen numbers. I don't think the Dune HBO show is going to get the same amount of viewers.
And all you got to do is get Jake Paul to fight an elderly individual who has made his name in the fight scene. And
So
then you have
how
to
long
rig
was
the
Jake
contract
Paul?
to make sure that it favors Jake Paul. And then you have 120 million people glued in no matter what.
So you know Sam Hyde? I don't know if you know him personally, but there's a
I
guy.
love Sam Hyde.
The guy by the name of Sam Hyde, wasn't he also fighting? So now Sam Hyde, go and face Jake Paul. Get a Sam Hyde, Jake Paul ticket going. You know, throw PewDiePie in there. See what happens. Is it really the names that are attracting people? Or is it just athleticism, the training? Was Jake Paul doing a lot of training
knows who
videos?
the fuck Sam Hyde is outside of us.
It's probably true.
Like that's a niche name. If you're gonna be like, oh, I'll fight Sam Hyde, nobody.
All right,
cares.
I got.
You're gonna be
guy,
like, I'm
one of
gonna
the-
fight Mike Tyson.
Sure.
A lot of people care.
Well, Sam Hyde was doing a
92% of
Candyman
the
shtick.
92% of the bets, Marcus,
Yeah.
went to Mike Tyson. If you bet on Jake Paul for that fight, you got paid fat. You really did. I can't imagine a scenario where people close to Mike Tyson didn't bet on Jake Paul.
How old do you got to be to place a legal sports bet? Is it 18 or 21?
18.
Okay, there it is. And I was
You
seeing a
have
lot
to
of
be
sports
21
betting
to do it
advertisement.
in a casino, but you can legally make a sports bet at 18
online through your smartphone. Pharmaceutical, drugs, sports betting, insurance. These guys are the ones supporting broadcast media.
I don't know why you wouldn't have bet on Jake Paul though.
I haven't opened a sports betting account yet, and we don't have a sponsor through a sports betting agency.
Dude, if you didn't bet on Jake Paul, you are half retarded. Like, he is 60 years old. Like, come on. I am in way better shape than the vast majority of the people my age. All the people I went to high school with, I just went home and saw most of them. And I promise you, I cannot do what I did when I was in my 20s. At all. Like, and the things I do, like, there's a reason that I have the other guys go down and unload the hay, because if I go do it, yeah, I can still do it, sure. And now I need to go take an old man nap, and when I get up, have my wife rub some stuffs on my back, and like, I'm not gonna do much else today because I did too much heavy lifting today.
Yeah. Why would you bet? Okay. And look, dude, I'll grant, I really will. I'll grant that nostalgia had a huge part to play in the people that are like, yeah, dude, of course, Mike Tyson is going to walk in there and knock out Jake Paul. That's not what the Jake Paul fights have dictated. We actually have history that we could draw off of and be like, oh, every time Jake Paul gets in the ring, he wins. It's totally fucking rigged to make sure that he wins. The contracts are rigged to make sure that he wins, but we're all gonna fucking pretend.
So how can sports betting exist in a world where contracts stipulate how many hits and punches and rounds you go.
Because people don't care. I don't know, dude.
Is that in the fine print when you register a bet? You put a bet down with a bookie, and the fine print says, "Well, you know what? You're not betting on an athletic event. You're betting on an entertainment event. So it might as well be like, the end of the movie, but then the movie's going to show again, and you bet based off of how you think the movie's going to end. Will it end differently? Now, if you're betting against a movie like Clue, where there's 4 different endings, that might be exciting.
I think that if you gave people the opportunity to bet on a different ending, there would have been a different ending to Misery. Okay?
Uh-huh. So is this a political
Like
show?
at some point, Homeboy would have dodged and been like, you know what, Kathy Bates, you're a fucking slow fat bitch. In fact, I can probably take you.
Yeah.
So is this a political show? I've been to some debates recently where they didn't want to talk politics.
Chaney's setting up, and then StepFir3, one of the guys that I think is smarter that I've talked to. He doesn't ever come on camera that I've seen, but he's definitely one of the more well thought out voices. So he said he's putting his kids to bed right now, and then he's coming in, so we can do a nice little couple-hour panel.
I'll wake up then.
Oh, good. Put a cup of coffee into your face and drink it.
We'll let the chat throw out some things if they want to hear any specific things discussed or debated. Whether Mike Tyson's too fucking old and flaccid to jump in the ring with a 27-year-old buck, I don't know if that needs to be rehashed or not. I think that's probably we're good on that. Probably, I would think.
Well, again, there's been some, political stuff that's happened in the news recently, and if people were placing bets for a blue color or a red color or a green color, I don't know how people are coping with that.
Are you going to try and poop on the Trumpy party?
Well, no. I was wondering, was there a popular vote? Have all the votes been counted?
No. They are still counting in a bunch of swingy areas. Steve would be the best one to give out the information on this, so wait for him to come back.
So we won't know who the president is until they install a president.
Oh, dude! If they, I know. Get Cheney on it, right? We love Cheney. If they try and overturn this and cheat it away again, do I hear the fucking
the sound of the rug burning again as it's being pulled out from beneath your feet?
Like I don't know that that the Republic survives that.
Well, the other thing that has been discussed is the Yuri Benzanov guy, that Russian guy talking about.
Oh, Yuri.
Yeah, Yuri. So, the USSR, Soviet Union, and now, what is it called? Russia?
Well, the Soviet Union broke apart. It's Russia now, yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to pull up some Yuri and show people?
Could have some standing by, certainly. As far as a debate topic goes, the topic could be something along the lines of social media being the battlegrounds for
I 100% agree with what Coherence. Could you highlight Coherence's second comment?
Oh, for sure.
And third, those I agree wholeheartedly. Personally, I realize that I come off very conservative. and so a lot of people would automatically put me on the conservative thing. Like, for starts, everybody needs to remember I'm actually served in the Army, and Trump is an actual draft dodger. And in no world can you convince me that it's okay for a draft dodger to tell a soldier to go die and be commander-in-chief of the Army. In zero worlds am I gonna ever. So I mean, that's without anything else. I haven't even looked. That's without even looking at the politics, which I can say a whole bunch of other things about it. But another thing that immediately for me would be a disqualifier for serving in any kind of a political position is dual citizenship. If you are a citizen of another country, no, you cannot be part of our political process and government procedure. No, absolutely not. I don't care if it's Canada. I don't care if it's Mexico. I don't care if it's Finland. I don't care what country it is. And magically, there's only one country that we have dual citizens in our government with, and that's Israel.
If you guys need some of this underscored for you, don't let Ben tell you, don't let me tell you, don't let Alan tell you that. Let's let Greg Reese from Infowars.com tell you. Let's do that. Let's do it.
That's weird to me. I'm watching a Greg Reese video right now.
Trump has chosen Big Pharma's Susie Wiles for chief of staff, and she appears to be Trump's handler.
In charge of Trump's campaign and his PAC, arguably his closest advisor, when I asked my friends who are close to Trump, they said you don't get a meeting with Trump unless she's in the room. You don't get a phone call unless she's in the room. She's omnipresent.
Elon Musk has been exposed by several reporters to be a fraud and a government frontman. Nobody has ever debunked this. And now we are told that he will be fixing the government.
I mean, my top recommendation, honestly, would be just to have a carbon tax.
That seems so reasonable.
Yeah, I agree. There's just one thing that will matter. Put a price on carbon.
That would be the best option.
For sure.
Joe Rogan's such a douche now.
That seems like it'd be such a good idea.
So far, the cabinet picks are painting a clear picture of where this is all heading. For UN Ambassador Elise Stefanik, who has received $917,000 from the Israel lobby.
Today, this means crushing anti-Semitism at home and supplying the state of Israel with what it needs, when it needs it, without conditions to achieve total victory in the face of evil.
For Secretary of State, Senator Marco Rubio, who has received $1 million from the Israel lobby.
Senator Rubio, will you call for ceasefire?
No, I will not.
Gaza?
On the contrary.
Senator Rubio,
are you filming it?
Wait,
so I want you guys to get this. I want them to destroy every element of Hamas they can get their hands on. These people are vicious animals who did horrifying crimes. And I hope you guys post that.
And what about the civilians that are being killed every day?
Hamas should stop hiding behind civilians, putting civilians in the way. Hamas knew that this was going to lead to this. So Hamas should stop building their military installations underneath hospitals.
So you don't care that 15,000 have died? You don't care about the babies that are being killed every day?
I think it's I think Hamas is 100%
making me hate you.
That's what I think. Make sure you post that, please.
For the EPA, Lee Zeldin, who has received $916,000 from the Israel lobby.
You should not be coddling the largest state sponsor of terrorism, who calls the United States the great Satan. They call Israel the little Satan. They chant death to America. They develop intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs, intercontinental. That's not meant for Israel. That's meant for us.
For National Security Advisor, Representative Mike Waltz, who has received $235,000 from the Israel lobby.
I think at this point, the only thing that is going to stop the supreme leader from his nuclear obsession is a very credible use and threat of military force.
For the Secretary of Homeland Security, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, who serves to ensure the security of God's chosen people and who signed a bill to conflate criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. For the U.S. Ambassador to Israel, former Governor Mike Huckabee, who says Palestinians don't exist.
What happens next? It's about the end times. And quite frankly, some of us think we may just be living in them. So, Max Lucado, so good to see you. Thanks for joining us, and welcome as we talk about the end of the world.
Well, Governor, I wouldn't be anywhere else. I'm supremely honored to have these moments with you. And yes, I do believe we're not just in the end times, we're in the end of the end times. It's moving fast.
For the CIA, John Ratcliffe.
What Israel has done is essentially employ the Trump doctrine, a maximum pressure campaign, understanding that the only way to deter terrorists like Iran and their proxies is to put your foot on their throat. And Israel has done that. We should be assisting Israel in doing so.
For Secretary of Defense, Fox News personality Pete Hegseth.
Anyone that wants to take the stage and talk about dual loyalty is dead wrong. What this organization represents, what Western civilization represents today, is an understanding that Zionism and Americanism are the front lines of Western civilization and freedom in our world today.
For the Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, who has received $460,000 from the Israel lobby.
Not responding is not an option either. I mean, you have the animating force behind the evil in that region is Iran.
And for U.S. President Donald Trump, who received $100 million from Zionist Miriam Adelson.
Iran is not there for us. They want to kill us. And the Palestinians are taught to kill us.
These are the people in your neighborhood. They're the people that you meet.
So the new debate topic that I get out of that.
When you're walking down the street.
Kristi Noem burnt her any kind of following she had in South Dakota to get that position. She literally the people of South Dakota put up a referendum, got it put up to the state vote, overwhelmingly voted it in. She vetoed it. And the election cycle before that, the people put it in and passed it and put it in to put up for a vote. The attorney general threw all the signatures in the garbage and then admitted in court that he did it. I threw them fucking things away. And she just straight vetoed it and then said that her officers she vetoed also hemp and said her officers weren't trained to know the difference between hemp and cannabis, so they couldn't do commercial hemp in South Dakota, where it just grows like mad everywhere. They have to fight hard to keep the hemp down.
You got that World War II ditchweed, just like Minnesota does, just like North Dakota does.
Yeah,
all over the place,
everywhere.
Massive hemp for victory campaign.
Forests of hemp. Yep. And they go in and they actively fight it. And they have to every year. Every year also, there's at least 2 or 3 kids that get busted for going and trying to pick it and dry it. How's that was going to do is give you a headache anyways, bro. I don't know. He probably saved you some time. Is Brian outside?
So the only problem I have with women,
Greg, you're gonna have to go fucking riot because Nico
House is fucking scared of us. That's what I fucking heard. Steve's trying to give him some kind of fucking pussy pass.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
Was you know what? Them are some mountain ass, researched mountain ass boys. I can't go in there trying to beg some money and plea around and make a case like some kind of little whiny girl. That's what I heard. And so he bailed 2 weeks in a row.
3 weeks.
3 weeks in a row.
Because we have to include the election day Tuesday.
Yes.
No, man, we'll go ahead and discard that. It's okay. I know we had you booked. I know we were going to do this, but it's election day. It's all right. We'll kick it back a week. And then it got kicked back another week so that 3 weeks in a row.
Wait a second. Is kickback another word for reparations?
Do we need
No,
reparations?
because a kickback is different from reparations. Reparations is apparently money owed. A kickback is what you get paid for being the enforcement entity in any given situation.
This is why we need to have the conversation, because I don't know what any of this means. So I need an education. I'm being deprived of an education right now.
Yo, dude, let me fucking, all right. I want to make this perfectly clear. Nico House, the person who has ducked us from a debate for the last 3 weeks, is one of the reasons that I have an internet presence at all. I love Nico House. I do. That's my dude. I will throw elbows first for that guy. I will right now. But I will.
No
that
cap.
doesn't mean that he's not kind of being a pussy ass motherfucker right now.
Chicken shit.
And that's okay. That's okay. Occasionally you get to be a pussy ass motherfucker every once in a while. He's got a couple of legitimate reasons for doing it. I'm not trying to put his business out there, so I'm not going to talk about it. He's got a couple of legitimate reasons for ducking tonight. He doesn't have any legitimate reasons for ducking last night, and the legitimate reasons that he has for ducking tonight, he could have fucking taken care of. He could have.
I wouldn't want to come begging in front of us either.
It's weird, dude. It's really weird. You're an alpaca farmer who lives on fucking Murder Mountain in Humboldt County. Ain't nobody coming near you. Ain't nobody trying to fucking start shit with you. For all intents and purposes, you're a goose down manufacturer. You are. All right. We don't need to get into your business. Marcus, I don't know what you do, but I'm assuming that
I'm
what
also
you
a
do
goose
is
down
procure
manufacturer.
ancient manuscripts
Yeah.
out of goat skin for people who
Vellum.
ask for them.
Vellum.
Yeah, vellum.
Yeah.
You're a vellum procurer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tell dick jokes on the internet for a living. We all know that.
Chaney and scrotum, like Dick Cheney.
Why the fuck would you be afraid of any of these people? Why would you? You got a fucking goose wrangler, a vellum manufacturer, and a dick joke procurer. What the fuck? What the fuck, dude? How are we intimidating? How the fuck, dude? You gotta. I know for a fucking fact that Ben named one of his ducks Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders, the duck, really looked and acted like Bernie Sanders. That's someone you need to be afraid of? Really? You gotta dodge that debate?
Constantly walking around begging me for stuff. We got some new Bernie Sanders ducks too. I got 2 of them. I like my Bernie Sanders
Are
ducks.
they trying to tell you about the deficit?
Yeah, they tried to convert me to socialism. They told me it was democratic socialism.
Oh, okay. Are there other forms of socialism?
Yes, because in order for there to be democratic socialism, there has to be a transmogrification of the effectual down bottom payment of the federal government.
They said something about I should have went and voted.
All
for
we're really
Kamala.
trying to do is rob you.
Yeah, they said something about I should have went and voted for Kamala, but now that Trump won, that the Democrats were doing things all wrong, and you shouldn't have anything to do with that party.
Holy shit! It's Cheney.
Hi, you guys. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm learning words tonight.
Making fun of colored people, asking for reparations.
Oh, that's why you invited me. You're
Yeah.
like, let's invite our favorite racist lesbian to join in.
Well, I don't see color.
Well, I would
don't
like
see
to
color.
thank you for being the official black female for the panel tonight. Thanks, Chaney.
I've removed all saturation from my screens, so it's just shades of gray for this debate. That's been 3 weeks ducked and avoided, and excuses are made. So we called you up.
We wanted to talk to you anyways. I missed you, Chaney. I don't know.
I missed
can't
you
think-
guys. You have to come hang out. I've just been so stinking busy. It always feels so weird asking people such on the fly short notice, and especially that late at night. So yeah, it's been a
Well,
little bit
fortunately, we don't have any of that sort of sense of propriety, so we're gonna ask you.
Well, no, I that's usually how it rolls. I knew you guys were taking a little bit of a break. Like I hadn't seen you guys as much. So I was like, you know what? Maybe they're just taking an entire break. And so I didn't want to and then I was thinking Ben shouted out at me yesterday. I'm like, yeah, of course. And then I was thinking about Alan Marcus randomly today, and that I was just like, oh, I need to have all those guys back on to the Secret Society of Good Guys. I miss the shit out of them, and we need to hang out sometimes,
Yes.
not on camera.
Well, I got stuck. The road trip to Flattoberfest and back, as per usual. I had to make sure to make a complete spectacle out of it, and get broke down, and go through a hurricane and the whole 9 yards. Yeah, so we had to do the full show. So I was gone for a little over 5 weeks, and so that's part of why that happened.
Oh, well, energetically, it's perfect. Like today, I think is the first day of Pluto being in Aquarius for the next 27 years. And Aquarius rules energy and technology. And Pluto usually represents death, but also in, anything with alchemy. To have a rebirth, you have to have the fertilizer of death. So we do seemingly seem like we're up against a new energy technology age.
Pluto is a dog, so we'll allow that topic.
We allow all dog talk.
As nonsensical as that seems, I agree with you 100%, Cheney, just because I've watched the buildup of the technocratic state over the last several years. And I've watched people like David Sachs and Peter Teel and Elon Musk position themselves into positions of realistic as opposed to perceived positions of power. And now we effectively have the PayPal mafia that is going to take complete control of the White House. And we've got their, I guess, scholarship awardees with J.D. Vance and with Palmer Luckey and a number of other people who are positioning themselves to do the Unit 8200 border wall and to do effectively real-time monitoring of all of our social media. And we found ourselves in a very weird little position where the persons that have been positioned to be our saviors are the ones who are guaranteeing to build our digital prison. It's kind of weird.
I kind of like some of the blockchain aspects, that everybody kind of has this anonymous idea of a blockchain. But if I know your wallet number, I can follow it and I know everything that's going on in your wallet. So it sucks on one hand for my anonymity, but it's amazing on the idea of like making the Department of Defense be on a blockchain and we all can actually see where all of our fucking tax dollars are going.
Is there a certainty that that's going to take place? That there's going to be a DOD blockchain where we can actually track that?
That's everything that I am under, even with the digital currency. Every country that's always been under a Fed always kind of has to rely on the weight of the Fed and what they say their country's dollar's worth. But if your, natural resource was limes and maybe mine was petrol, how many limes does it take to buy a gallon of petrol? It depends on the actual amount of petrol and is it a finite resource, which we don't think it is. So then it gets into these whole other conversations of what energy is worth. And then what if you have a bad crop? So it's harder to get limes this year. All of that stuff has to be put on a blockchain, in my opinion, for the people, like in the way Alaska gets paid out, for the people of a country to really get paid and not get fleeced. They need to be on a blockchain, not us, them. If we pay 1 cent of tax and it gets broken up into 67 pieces, we should get an itemized receipt of exactly what happened with that money. And in real time, like if the Department of Defense drops blank amount of Bitcoin, Dogecoin, XRP, we need to see it in real time. And so that is what I'm trying to be glittery red pilled about. Is that kind of stuff does have to happen.
Is that being red pilled or is that being hopium pilled?
No, there's all the talks actually going on for it. And if you look at the court case of the XRP Ripple that just went through, I don't technically know all of it that well, but even energy wise, Bitcoin takes a ton of energy to trade.
Yeah.
And you know what took more energy to trade? You having a dollar bill in your hand. And so if they, the like evil they, whatever, they want less and less energy spent on us doing currency and transactions between each other. So Bitcoin, technology wise and energy wise, isn't a sufficient medium. So they needed other chains to put it on. But the United States is also talking about like in their, well, this is just stuff being talked about with the new cabinet coming in. Fort Knox has to be audited. And in the auditing of Fort Knox, because we know all of our tax dollars, where the fuck are they going? They talk about doing a digital part that they want to go into like a Bitcoin and buy up 2% of the Bitcoin. So they also have a digital Fort Knox so that way they can't pull the rug on an actual currency. Like they wouldn't be allowed, like now it would always have a floor. And so there is some things and there's so many other ones. But I mean, just all the talks with RFK and Elon, and I'm still the person that I cannot believe this Elon is the same Elon with the big torso on the boat with that guy. Like, do you guys remember that? Like he had this huge, it wasn't a weight thing. How do you lose weight in your ribs? Like it was like a weird.
No, the entire reason there's a Cybertruck is based solely around Elon Musk's torso. I have proof. I do.
But
I'll show you.
I'm like, I don't even think that's the same dude as this thin built guy that jumped on stage next to Trump.
It's not the same.
Here's the other thing. All of us have talked about it. It doesn't matter like black pill, red pill, blue pill, whatever the pills, no pilled. No one believes that's the same Biden we grew up with. Not one person. It doesn't matter. No one believes it. No one even thinks that like that Hillary's the same Hillary as the one we saw. Like everybody, there's these certain people that they seem like they were traded out. And so under the assumption is like up, like in a simple term, like in a black white term of it all. And that's the part they'll record and they'll be like, see, she's a Mason. In the black white of it all. See, I forgot what I was gonna say. I said Mason and it gave me
that's the blockchain. Blockchains are blocks. Blocks are generally made of concrete. Concrete is laid by masons, so it all goes back to masonry and building foundations and this type of thing. I want to push back on this statement of, Bitcoin is wasted energy. Bitcoin wastes energy. These nerds who develop the code would probably know what energy would be required to mine. So they're running complex algorithms to decide computational numbers, stuff, whatever. Has there ever been proof or evidence that all of that Bitcoin minting of the Bitcoin, the mining, the process of using computers to run the CPUs and the GPU cycles, was that creating large language models? Was it breaking encryption? What was the computing power actually doing? Most people say it's wasted energy and it didn't do anything but mint a Bitcoin. I don't think that technology people would just run random numbers conflicting against random numbers to decide what random number is going to win the random number battle.
Well, they probably take energy out of it too. But whatever the consumption is on,
Sure.
if you were to plug it into a wall and just mine Bitcoin,
Isn't it just cloud computing?
It just, even if you are on your phone and doing crypto, your battery will go. It's like kind of insane.
Right.
And so I agree with you. I don't think it's just about them putting money in my bank account or your
It's
bank
wasting
account.
my energy. It's wasting your energy. But the energy has got to be doing something more than
I agree.
nonsense.
And so in a weird way, it seems like the transactions that were happening before on the computer, whatever the last, let's say the 90s, now it's just like amped up to however many. It's like pulling a slot machine versus pressing a button of a slot machine.
Sure.
They're getting something at. I'm with you on that. Like it's more than just a money. Like I don't know what the energy is doing. It's probably all a front for them absorbing the energy and using it somewhere else.
What I don't get is how it according to the polls, the number one thing that was a deciding factor or important for people was freedom of speech and democracy. And then they all go for Elon Musk and he's suddenly become a hero. And PayPal was the only company that I know of, major financial company, that immediately implemented the social credit system, where if you did or said something they didn't like in social media, they could just take your money and hold it. And they legit put that in. And when that happened, there was a lot of like Freeman Fly took a giant hit because he had so many of his people were coming straight out of PayPal. His subs were going straight out of PayPal. Well, all kinds of people shut their PayPal account, especially in the more conspiracy-minded world where they actually pay attention to shit like that. And so the company that very first went after, in a real financial way, normal people's finances for things that they say, is the guy you guys are going to uphold as your freedom of speech guy.
Yeah, I don't know if he has any necessarily cabinet or anything with freedom of speech. I think the only thing being talked about for Elon is cutting the fat on the government and like keeping accountability of it. So
Not all fat created equally. Some fat.
I don't know. It seems like if you follow his account, the amount of financial
So what's
stuff
being
he's
promised
putting.
from Elon is the expansion of government.
No, I don't think he's promised anything
Elon has
yet. He's
said
just
is
put up a
I'm
whole
going
bunch
to
of
what
like
Elon has said is I'm going to be a part of an entirely brand new government agency that expands the scope, reach, and aspect of government called DOGE.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Elon has promised. And DOGE means duplicitous oligarchs grifting everyone.
Yes,
That's
and
what DOGE means.
when
That's what
Elon
DOGE
Musk
means.
when Elon
So
Musk was on
what the
SNL,
guy who is a defense contractor who has promised to take spyware into every single home, not just in America, but throughout the known world, the guy who has promised to infiltrate the very most intimate aspects of your life has said, I'm also going to be a part of making sure that what agencies we deem, not you deem, Cheney, but we deem inefficient will be replaced by AI.
Steve,
And we're going to go ahead and bring you into this new world order that is going to be
backstage.
beneficial.
Backstage, Steve.
Go ahead, Ben.
no, this is fire. This is what we're
Backstage.
aiming for on the show to get really heated.
But
and
yeah,
deliberate.
Elon has promised to take us and transition us.
There's a guy
from
backstage.
the plebeians that we are into modified plebeians that have a brain chip because he's the brain chip guy. We know that. You can't deny that. And he has promised to make sure that there is going to be a beneficent overlord entity that goes ahead and takes care of you because you, as a feeble human, aren't capable of doing that for yourself. You need Cheney. You need not just government, but you need AI government in order to be able to act right. Otherwise, you might act wrong. And if you acted wrong, well, then you would have to be punished. You don't want to be punished, do you?
I was punished
Not
by
unless you
watching
let me
Elon
get
Musk
stuck
on SNL.
backstage like our guest, StepFir3. You should let him in the show. There we go.
Hello.
I'm getting fired up about Elon Musk, good guy or goodest guy or worst evil of all time. I don't know. Elon Musk on SNL, how many years ago? Was it Mother's Day? He had his May Musk mother announce to the world that his issue was he was on the spectrum somewhere. So that was announced publicly. And then on Weekend Update on SNL, when Elon Musk describes Dogecoin, D-O-G-E, as being a hustle, he continues to hustle, D-O-G-E. And then, if you just flip it and reverse it, E-G-O-D, D-O-G-E, E-G-O-D, that's eGod. So Elon Musk is being the godfather of Dogecoin, electronic god, in a comedy show. And now we haven't laughed him off the stage yet. And now he's doing his thing. The joke has gone too far or not far enough.
Welcome, StepFir3.
Welcome, StepFir3.
Howdy. Sorry, my little one is not ready to go to sleep yet, so I got to stay muted.
We
but I'm not speaking.
understand that, brother.
Respectable.
I'm on mute a lot also, but I'm a grandparent now to my 8th grandkid just yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I had a little granddaughter, number 8 now. But other than that, it's just
Another
cat.
ginger.
This one didn't appear to be ginger, but it didn't come out immediately with the flaming red hair.
There's still time for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it can come. It's also not red.
It's not red.
A double negative makes it a redhead.
The Northern European will come out in that child.
Trying to be aware of logic traps and deduction.
Oh man, you should have seen my other granddaughter. It was my youngest granddaughter. Oh, she's such a little fireball. She is. That one is something else. The one who made me the Balaji or whatever people. You know who I'm talking about, Jamie. The fashion people that put up the ad with the little kid. Looked too much like my granddaughter.
Balenciaga.
Yeah, made me lose my shit for a minute. I start frothing a little bit.
So Hugo Boss created some legendary outfits for a certain group of people. Does Trump have fashion designers on board?
I don't know. He doesn't seem to hang out with a lot of the fashion designers. They all seem to hate Trump.
So is he going to get Chinese branded outfits?
I don't know.
Like who's dressing our military?
I don't know who's doing it now. I don't know where they're made.
We don't have to debate politics, StepFir or Cheney. It was just that's where it started out. Marcus brought us here. We don't got to go there at all.
I asked if this was a political show, and no one said yes or no. So we just went.
I'm willing to go wherever the tide takes me.
I don't know if there's guardrails on tonight.
Well, what a political affiliation are you, sir?
I mean, I'm a conservative, so I tend to vote Republican. But you know, as soon as the Republicans go off their shit, you know, we'll be on to the next thing. You know, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
So,
do you have any topics near and dear to your heart that you like to defend?
well, it wouldn't be a political.
Any topic, anything you know enough about to be able to tussle with.
I just was saying what I've heard about Elon Musk. I don't think I brought up Elon or even knew I was supposed to take the side of being the Elon defender.
Yeah, it didn't appear that way. Steve was firing with that though. He had that one in the cannon from earlier, so he had blue balls real bad. It's not your fault. Steve had to unleash it somewhere, and you were just the lucky bukkake that got it.
It's usual.
Yeah. He went on a
At least I was kind of ready for it.
He shows up in this debate like the dude literally had been on streaming for like 49 hours and 50 minutes straight or something. Steve rolls in and is like, "We gonna get serious now, boys." And he goes in there and starts hitting them with the heavy punches. And those guys none of them had the background information to go where Steve goes. And the response is after 50 hours of not sleeping was just pretty much delirious laughter. And Steve's was dying to unload this. And he had a video clip and everything, and they wouldn't let him play it or nothing. And Steve's like, "Somebody's going to get this." And Cheney's like, "Elon Musk," and Steve's like, "Fucking, bam!"
I didn't even bring up Elon Musk. I didn't even bring him up.
I mean, I like Elon. I think he's the real life Tony Stark.
See, you just came into
and what? I'm sorry, new guy. My kid just called me. I apologize.
I like dad doing dad stuff.
No worries.
StepFir, I apologize.
StepFir and Steve.
What about
Ben holding his kitten?
What about Elon Musk gives you
He's looking
that
lovingly
feeling?
in my eyes.
Well, I mean, who else could you possibly compare to Tony Stark in the real world? except the man that's revolutionized the electric vehicle market, that's launching rockets into space.
Okay, tell me specifically
That
what
was awesome.
about the
That was
electric.
awesome.
Tell
I
me
I heard the
specifically
laugh
about.
afterwards. You got to hold the laugh.
Hang on. Let's go one at a time. What about the electrical vehicle market has given you hope as over the internal combustion engine? Have you seen like legitimate proof of work that this is the way forward?
Innovation?
Well, specifically the EV market as put forward by Elon Musk, since that's what we're talking about.
I'm not sure if I understand exactly how you're coming.
Well, you
at this question.
just said Elon Musk and the EV market is why you like Elon Musk. So I'm curious as to.
Well, I just meant the innovation, the technological innovation. He's like at the forefront of
going
where
40
technology is
miles
going.
with going 40 miles and needing a charge.
I mean,
Yeah?
I think it's like 240, but yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, when you average it out over actual EV owners, they get about 45 miles to a charge.
Okay. I mean, that's
which is
driving around
about a little bit less than one way from where people need to go to commute.
Yeah, I don't know how you're coming to that, the 40 mile per charge, because
I have to
something you would
presume.
want to know before you would make that argument.
I mean, I would have to presume that the 240 miles is under absolute ideal conditions, which is going to include temperature, inclination, driving at a certain speed, not stop and go driving, where any of these people that are doing normal everyday driving, like we all
highway versus city is what you're saying, basically.
But yeah, they're driving a lot of times in the city on electric batteries. See, I actually live off grid, so I live off of a battery bank, and the temperature vastly affects the voltage in those battery banks. So I'm assuming that what Steve is giving is more of what they're actually experiencing. And also that 240, I'm presuming is a brand spanking ass new battery. And in reality, again, somebody that lives off of batteries, that number that they quote you right when you first get them, that doesn't really last very long. It's, if you got that for getting that out of it for 6 months, you're doing real good.
Well, I mean, my only point, I'm not like a tree hugger or I'm so excited to get rid of the combustion engine. I don't think you can. The engine, I don't think you can. It's like kind of a part of our society. I mean, maybe one day we get a hydrogen engine that we can just plug in anywhere we want to. That's way more efficient, because we just go the way of efficiency.
Hydrogen engines is the fucking future. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And then there'll be something after that,
But that's still a combustion engine. That's not an electric engine. That's a combustion engine. You're just talking about a much cleaner combustion. That's the combustion of hydrogens. It produces water, and so it's not a big deal.
Quickly, I would like to. Give StepFir3 an opportunity to hear Elon Musk and Elon Musk's peers in their own words before we go any further.
Of Twitter becoming kind of a super app with payments included, maybe perhaps even DOGE or something. This seems to me, based on your work with David at PayPal, like a pretty brilliant idea. What's the vision there in terms of if you were able to buy it, perhaps at the right price, What would it look like if, I could at Jason to at Elon Musk, $10 or something if, we were splitting a check or something?
Sure. Well, for those that have used WeChat, I think WeChat's actually a good model. If you're in China, it's basically, you kind of live on WeChat. It does everything. It's sort of,
I would like to pause for a moment and ask StepFir, before we go further, what is WeChat? Do you know?
No.
Okay. Without trying to paint it in too broad of a brush, WeChat is an application that people who live within the Chinese Communist Party in China have to download on their phone if they want to participate in society. So if there's anything in your life that
is it hooked to like the social credit score?
Well, that's just a small part of it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. WeChat kind of permeates the culture inside of the Chinese Communist Party. You can't transact without it. You can't communicate without it. You can't contact your employer without it. WeChat is the app that determines your entire life. This is something that the CCP created, that Elon Musk is holding up as the penultimate ideal of what needs to happen in Western society. So I'm going to go back to the clip here.
Sort of like Twitter plus PayPal plus a whole bunch of other things, and all roll into one with actually a great interface, and it's really an excellent app. And we don't have anything like that outside of China. So I think such an app would be really useful. And it just like the utility of it, of sort of a spam-free thing where you can make comments, you can post videos, you can, I think it's important for content creators to have a revenue share. Now this does not need to be done on Twitter. It could be done from something that's created from scratch. So it could be something new. So really, but I think this thing needs to exist, whether it is converting Twitter to be the sort of like kind of all-encompassing app that, like I said, everything from digital town square where important ideas are debated, maximally trusted and inclusive, and at a point where you sort of have a high trust situation, then payments, whether it's crypto or fiat, can make a lot of sense. We just want something that's incredibly useful and that people love using.
So quickly, let me jump over here real quick and do this
for a year.
Well, it's a tricky situation. And it's incredibly complex.
Yes, come on, indeed. I mean, we don't even have an app that's as good as WeChat in China. And like in China, you can like live on WeChat basically. It's like, everyone's like, like you live on WeChat, you do payments, you do everything. It's like, it's great. Basically, WeChat's kick ass. And we don't have anything like WeChat outside of China.
So you have Elon Musk saying, my God, why don't we have what the Chinese Communist Party has? And then here is his answer to it.
So I was like, my idea would be like, how about if we just copy WeChat?
How about if we don't put a shred of innovation into anything? How about we just copy what the Chinese Communist Party is doing?
Hey, copy them.
Copy them. That's what Elon Musk says. Copy the Chinese Communist Party.
Buys Twitter, copies WeChat.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And Dogecoin is just Bitcoin.
let's copy what the Chinese Communist Party is doing with their everything app. Let's make sure that every aspect of human existence flows through an application. Yes, let's do that. We don't need to innovate. We don't need to think. We don't need to put American heads into it. We just need to copy what the Chinese Communist Party is doing. And as long as we copy what the Chinese Communist Party is doing, we're going to be great, says innovator Elon Musk. Well, gosh, that's weird, man. That's weird to me.
What's weird about it?
This, ladies and gentlemen, is what happens when you've had a stiffy and nowhere to put it for hours. This is what happens.
There are some presuppositions that are going to be had coming into the discussion. So there might be a lot that you're trying to convey that, for me, I don't carry the same presupposition. So it's not going. What you're saying to me,
I'm sorry,
sounds like
dude,
you're just describing.
What could you possibly think I'm trying to convey by playing the words of the person saying we're copying the Communist Chinese Party's application in order to put everyone on a singular platform? How am I conveying anything?
Well, I mean, to me, that sounds just like normal business practice for someone who wants to make a bunch of money. Make sure the most amount of traffic,
and make sure that you have a centralized platform is innovation in business to you.
Well, it's innovation in business to the market.
It's not innovation because it's replication. Innovation denotes creation. This is replication. That's an entirely different thing, my friend.
Mm-hmm. But even if the American Indians were to start copying the colonists,
how did we get to the American Indians from Elon Musk directly telling you I'm going to copy
what he
the
was saying, Steve, so you can find out?
It's an analogy. You're basically what you're saying is it's not innovation because it's being copied. But when the American
I'm not even telling you. I'm showing you that there is a guy who is purportedly the richest man in the world saying, I don't have any ideas of my own. I'm going to copy the Communist Party of China in order to put the entirety of the West onto a blockchain. That's not me saying that. That's him saying that.
No. Yeah, but you are saying it like it's a bad thing. So you are putting a negative connotation. So you're putting a negative connotation on what he is saying. So I don't take the same negative connotation. I think efficiency is good. I don't see the issue with efficiency.
Well, okay. I'm sorry, my friend. Please denote for me where, and I understand slavery gets shit done. This is something that we've been able to figure out since the pyramids or before. Slavery.
Let's go back to colonists and Indians.
You're absolutely correct. I defer to you on that. However, I am bereft for reasons why you would want to enslave population in order to, I guess, have things run more efficient on the internet.
Let's hear from StepFir3 now his response uninterrupted, please.
Well, I mean, what is the why are you, again, this is the presupposition. What are you talking about enslaving a bunch of people? Who's being enslaved by creating an app that, you know, sees a bunch of traffic, whether it be how you order your pizza or how you look up the phone number? You know, that's the new phone bill. He's talked about this stuff, like just you showed publicly. It's been very public with, he's saying, I want to create a one-stop shop for the internet, a place that you can come to. He wants to see all that traffic go through him. This is no different than the phone lines back in.
I'm sorry, StepFir3. I apologize. Let me interject real quick. When you say let's create a one-stop shop, doesn't that denote that all other options have been removed from the table and now there is only one source for this?
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. When the cars started getting made, the wagons stopped getting made. It wasn't that they had to stop people from making wagons. It was just that the car was so much more efficient. Why are we going to get a wagon? Just
That's
naturally
an
dies
apples
off.
to spaceships argument.
Well, I don't think so.
Yeah,
But
nobody
feel free
was
to
talking
elaborate.
about making the wagons more efficient. They
Yeah,
were
yeah,
talking
no. This is
about
an
creating
analogy.
a different platform that
Yeah, yeah.
rendered the wagon obsolete. Yes?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about eliminating competition in order to create an entity that exists as the penultimate answer to the solution. Yes?
Through competition, but he's not doing it de
Not
facto.
through
See, that's where you
competition, through government subsidies, because Elon Musk is a government subsidized contractor.
well,
Yes?
sure. Yeah, sure. But doesn't the American government also have interests in being the one that helps Elon Musk do it instead of him going to Africa or him going to England or China and doing it there? Should we? I mean,
Well,
there's interest
by
all around.
Elon Musk's own words, the product already exists in China.
Yeah.
The product doesn't exist in Africa because Africa doesn't have the infrastructure to build a copy of what already exists in China. This is Elon Musk's own words. We're going to copy what they're doing, not we're going to innovate, not we're going to create something new. We're merely going to copy. Yes, that's what we all heard, right? Or am I deaf?
We're going to bring a technology that doesn't currently exist here and
Do I
bring it
need
here.
to replay this?
Well, we can
No, I'm not
allow him
confronting.
to copy and then maybe
I mean,
iterate.
because his exact words, Elon Musk's exact words were copy.
That's step
copy.
one.
Yes, or am I wrong?
No, but I don't understand why is that so bad?
Right, Steve's not filling
Why
in.
is a lack of innovation bad?
Steve's
I would
not
think that the
filling.
lack of innovation is bad because you're relying on what other people have done, and then you're not expanding your own parameters of thought and innovation. That's what I would think, but maybe I'm incorrect for that too.
Well, Steve's putting a couple of things together here. One, that even though Musk is being upheld as this innovator, he's not innovated anything ever. He's bought some companies. He's a very good pitch man. He's a very good stockbroker. Good at getting people to invest into things. Not a stockbroker, but a guy that gets people to invest into the stocks and whatnot. He's good at doing that and getting money to shift. But he himself, there's no innovation that has come out of him, and in the products, most of them, while they're vaunted because they're new, they aren't good. Again, living off grid, the Tesla wall is not a battery that I would ever touch. It's literally meant for people who live on the grid. It's not meant for off grid at all. It's not a good battery. It's meant to basically couple you with the power company and turn you into their battery bank. And then at night, when all the machines are off, that's when you fill that thing up, and then you run off that during the day. So it allows you not to take out of their system during the day. So it's just,
I understand. I think I understand what you are saying when you say he hasn't really innovated much.
But
and I would
he's
agree.
Also kind of, I think, throwing in the social credit thing, which puts the devious angle to everything else being tied together. So he's kind of doing that all together without stating it. Is I think the problem.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why I said That's why I said there's precepts that we're bringing into the conversation that
I
might
agree.
not share. So
Is
when
Elon
I
Musk-
say that, you have to expand on these precepts because you kept saying the China Communist Party or the Communist China Party, whatever it was.
Well,
the
they're
Chinese
the
Communist
people
Party.
that originated WeChat. That's where that product
Yeah.
derives from. It's what Elon Musk, in his own words, said, I want to copy. So why would I not draw from what Elon Musk, in his own words, says I want to emulate? Why
Well,
would I
that's
not
not
interject that into the conversation? Because it's not me saying it, it's Elon Musk saying I lack the creativity to create my own product. I think it's more beneficial if I copy what the Chinese.
Yeah, but I don't think
Communist
he
Party
literally meant copy the ones and zeros.
That's
he means
literally what he said. I can play it.
No. He said we can
again.
just copy WeChat. I heard the whole thing. He said we just copy WeChat.
They have been working on-
Chevrolet done the same thing when they saw Ford. We need to copy Ford and start making our own trucks, and
Chevrolet,
that's
in
what they
fact,
started doing.
created an entirely different engine. If you look at the history,
And the
of
engine
Ford
that would
and
be used on
Chevrolet,
X would be
you
different
have
than WeChat.
Okay, you're interjecting in fucking fantasy into this conversation. We have a clear-cut example of Elon Musk saying, I lack the creativity to create my own product. I am going to copy this product. That's what he said. With Ford and Chevy, you have some significant delineations in terms of model. Does Ford have a straight six?
Yeah.
No.
No. I was thinking. of the,
No. Ford doesn't have a straight six.
Ford
has
300,
a slant six.
Ford 300 straight six.
It's a 302, and it's.
I mean, it's getting a little.
300.
This
Ford
is
has straight six 300.
It took them time to develop after copying something and then innovating and then
What
releasing
You
something.
innovate. You innovate off of
copied
what you innovate off of what you already have. They innovated off of the combustion engine. The Ford took the engine and made the best engine and put it in the best cars and was selling these cars.
If I
the
show
same thing
you
applies
an
here. Same principle.
example of Elon Musk saying free speech is for fucking retards, would you go along with I'm going to copy the Chinese Communist Party's model for this? If I showed you examples of Elon Musk making sure that people who tried to implement free speech on his platform were deplatformed and were not allowed a voice, would that matter? I don't understand, because this is equivocation at this point. You're equivocating. That's what you're doing.
How
What
you
am I
doing,
equivocating?
Cheney? Hi, Cheney.
Hey, Cheney.
There was some quotes brought up by Henry Ford as innovator and anti-Semite. So Henry Ford was steadfastly committed to violent, racist, and anti-Semitic views that he clung to most of his life.
There
Yeah, I
were
think he
some
was a
likable characteristics about Ford.
So
Yeah, I think he was a
to bring up things that Elon Musk have said in the past that don't paint him in a good light, maybe he's not just a Bond villain after all. Maybe he's good and evil at the same time, but you got to be both to push forward.
Everybody has their own motives, and when you start impugning motives on like, why did you have me up here? Did you bring me up here just so you can scream at me about Elon Musk? Are you
I don't
being
even know who
nefarious?
you are, dude. I didn't bring you
Yeah,
up.
and no, that's why I'm just getting to the point that you can't. He said, I'm going to copy WeChat. Okay, what copy means to him when he says that could be completely different than how you're taking it. and you have no way of knowing how he meant copy in that instance.
But he
it's like a word.
delineated exactly what he meant in the clip that I played before the clip that I played that he said he wanted to copy WeChat. He laid out all of the reasons why he wanted to copy WeChat. It ain't me, bro. It's that guy. It's
He wants to make more money.
He laid out all of the reasons why he wanted to do it, and you're sitting here telling me that it's in my head. And I fucking invented what he said? Come on, dude.
No. You didn't invent what he said. He did say what he said.
For a goddamn second. Let's do that. Let's live in reality first.
I'm down here, brother. Let's go.
That he said, not what you think I feel. Let's take the words that he said.
But what about how you think he feels? You're doing that to him. So I shouldn't do it to you. You shouldn't do it to him, probably, right?
Okay.
I do have to pause for 1 second. Pause for 1 second.
Because apparently,
pause. I do have to apologize. Apparently, it's a little more blood sporty than it's ever.
I'm okay. I'm okay.
I must apologize. I did say though that it wasn't. So if you're cool with it, have at it. I'm not offended. I'm just apologizing because I did say, and Steve actually is getting pretty. He's wound. Holy shit!
Look, dude. Look, if you met my dad,
all heard Elon lay out what he wanted to do, and then Spitfire here is saying, I don't know, maybe it's totally different than what the guy said he wanted to do. So perhaps we should revisit
you still
what
haven't
he
put the
said
negative, you still haven't put the negative connotation, Steve. What are the negative aspects? Like StepFire wasn't in here when we talked about what happened with PayPal, right? StepFire, where PayPal was the first company that actually in America implemented the social credit system and locked down people's accounts. So,
are you talking about like the $600 fee if they find something on another social network that they don't like?
No. This is way before that.
Yeah, this is Steve and I have been around for a long time, bro. And so doing this kind of thing for a long time now.
Yeah.
And back in this was what, probably about 4 years ago. It was around 2020. Anybody that said anything out of line, they locked your cash down and they took it. It's no longer, they can keep it now, and they challenged that. Well, then they said that they weren't going to do that because a bunch of people closed their accounts. Well, then they went and did it anyways, even after they said that they weren't going to because so many people closed their accounts. So like for people like us that were doing alternative media, a lot of people were paying out of their PayPals because that was an alternative system. And so you saw an immediate, anybody that had alternative voices get shut down basically overnight, including guys like my example when I was talking about it earlier was Freeman Fly, who, I mean, this guy's an Alex Jones contemporary from back then. This guy literally called out 9/11 before 9/11 happened. Everybody knew who this guy was that did any kind of alternative stuff. And overnight, they basically shut him down. He's like, I lost half my income.
We're talking payment processors being the middleman that dictates who receives funding.
So Steve hadn't laid out. I don't think you were in there for that part. So for you, Steve, I don't think exactly. Freeman is an OG. The negative implications that have already existed, you're just putting a preset. That's why he said presupposition. You haven't laid out a case where these things aren't just more convenient, which most people think convenience is good. You've got to put out the negative connotation and not presume it. You're jumping right to slavery.
So how long ago did the incident that you're speaking about PayPal happen? How long ago was that?
Okay, well, let's actually look at the
Steve?
first time that PayPal levied a sanction against any individual independent business. We can go back to 2012, 2011, when PayPal said we're no longer processing payments for WikiLeaks. Yeah. Spitfire, do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know of the incident specifically, but
okay.
yes, I trust.
Back in late 2011, 2012, and with the onset of PayPal, but certainly with payment processors like MasterCard and Visa, where people were familiar with giving transactions over the internet, there was a CIA directive that said anyone who is contributing to WikiLeaks is going to be subjected to criminal penalties. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. And so MasterCard, Visa, the fledgling PayPal, and every other payment processor except for Bitcoin said, okay, we're going to listen to the international intelligence community, and we're not going to allow payments to process to WikiLeaks. Bitcoin was the only payment processor available to WikiLeaks. This is an international financial hegemony using all of its influence to go, I don't like what you say. Your speech no longer counts. In fact, your speech can't be monetized. Everybody else's speech can be monetized, but your speech can't. I don't like it. It might be right. It might bear out to be 100% true. That has nothing to do with this particular situation. We are the global financial oligarchy, and we say your speech is effectively worthless. That's a thing that happened.
Yeah,
I don't even know how to put it.
That would be a violation of the First Amendment.
It would be. It was in 2012. There's precedent.
Oh, I know that don't mean shit to them. They don't give a fuck what your constitutional rights are. I'm just saying. Yeah, I mean, with the PayPal, some companies, they're making these decisions on the fly, and they make bad decisions all the time.
It's not PayPal. Dude, you're focusing on PayPal. I'm telling you, it was every bank on the fucking planet. You can go look this up and verify.
But I'm not sure that makes the case that you're trying to make, though, Steve, because you're trying to make this case specifically against Musk, and the whole thing with that is this was an international
government.
You're like
government.
I'm not trying to hinge it on Musk. That may be where we're confused.
But I mean, this is the first time you brought up
because PayPal went along with it, right?
So you're moving the goalpost. I would maybe move this more to the places where PayPal in and of itself has just implemented its own things, like it did with the social crediting. Like you said, things the government didn't tell it to shut down and hold people's money. That wasn't a government directive. MasterCard, Visa, and all them didn't do that. That was specifically only PayPal, showing that PayPal, if you start making commentaries they don't like, they're fully willing to just take every bit of money you have in their system, lock it down, and say it's theirs. That was done without government directive. This other thing was done under directive. Now, did they fold? Absolutely, but I don't think that was really the case.
I just need a little bit of clarity. Is the issue that you have with Elon Musk because of PayPal's participation in this international ban for payment processing to WikiLeaks. Is that what your is that why you don't like Elon Musk?
No, not at all. Not at all. That's a teeny tiny part of it. In fact, I'm not 100% sure that Elon was on the board of PayPal when PayPal decided to cut off a major news aggregate.
Was Peter Teel with PayPal at that time in 2011?
Yeah.
No,
Probably.
no. Peter Teel was fully divested of PayPal before 2011. He was 100% with Palantir. Palantir's only client for the first
So the
3
Lord of the
years
Rings
of its
reference?
existence was the CIA.
What is a Palantir?
What is a Palantir in the Lord of the Rings thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one that's religious and it gets to have a sword. It gets like a +1, and probably it still doesn't get to get laid though. It's like almost magical, right?
So
Yeah,
so nerds naming
but
things
no,
after Lord of the
in
Rings is
2011,
innovation.
Palantir was its own entity. In 2011, the only client that Palantir had was the CIA. In fact, until 2014, Palantir had 0 clients outside of the CIA. That's JD Vance.
I'm still confused.
You don't have a JD Vance without Palantir and Peter Thiel.
Steve is like Steve, you gotta kind of I understand in your world all these things are interconnected because they are. I get it. But the background information that you're presuming that he should have,
okay,
he doesn't have.
JD Vance was a humble Marine who went to go work for the literary outlets for the Marine Corps.
Hold
right?
on. We're getting further down, and I'm trying to.
No, we're boiling it down.
Yeah, what does this have to do with Elon Musk?
Well, it has a lot to do with
They were in a
Elon
video
Musk.
together, first
and
of all.
if you'll allow me, I'm sorry. I really am. I'm sorry. If you'll allow me to boil it down, I will. Okay. Let's take for this particular example, JD Vance. JD Vance is a humble Marine journalist, right? That's what we know about JD Vance. Yes.
Yeah, I mean he's got a movie and a book, and
yeah, he's got a movie and a book. Okay. Prior to that, he was a humble Marine reporter. Yes.
Yeah,
we're agreed on that. Okay. Prior to that, what you have is an apparatus where 2 particular individuals legitimately own a significant sphere of the ability for the armed forces to report because they've funded it. If you don't have funds, do you have the ability to get your word out? Would you tell me with a straight face, Spitfire, that if somebody isn't putting up the money for your publication, that your publication goes out?
yeah. I mean, I'm with you so far. I think.
Okay. So the people that made sure that the Marine publication went out were at that particular time Peter Thiel and Miriam and Sheldon Adelson. who's and Sheldon Adelson is dead, but who's Miriam Adelson? Do you know?
No.
Miriam Adelson is the widow of Sheldon Adelson, who owned a significant amount of properties all throughout the United States and Israel, and was a major benefactor of the Republican Party. Miriam Adelson gave Donald Trump just a couple of months ago $100 million. Does $100 million sound like a small amount of coin to you?
I mean, if she's a multi-billionaire, then it's chump change.
For an average,
Elon Musk bought Twitter for
campaign.
$44
Look.
billion.
Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. Let's contextualize this because I didn't do that properly. The Harris campaign had $1.15 billion. That seems like an exceptional amount of money. Yeah?
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Okay. Does a tenth of that at $100 million seem like an insignificant amount of money, or does that also seem like a substantial amount of money? Like if you had
So you're saying she donated to Donald Trump's campaign?
If you Spitfire had $100 million at your disposal, would you feel like you had a substantial amount of money, or would you feel like you had an insignificant amount of money?
I mean, it's a lot of money to a poor person.
To a poor person?
Yeah.
$100 million only seems like a substantial
well,
amount
I mean,
to a poor person?
It would be like upper middle class. It'd be a lot of money to them too.
Upper middle class.
Once you hit these guys,
Hey, Alan, can you pull up what an average middle class family makes right now?
So in 2024 dollars.
This? Because I feel like this is very disingenuous.
No. I'm willing to concede that it's a lot of money to me. But is it a lot of money to Trump, the billionaire? Is it a lot of money to Elon Musk? Is it a lot of money to this Muriel chick? No, it's not a lot of money.
I'll tell you what. Elon Musk only put up $40 million to Miriam Adelson.
I have the answer.
$100 million.
An upper middle class
I'll tell you
person.
what, dude. I'll tell you what. The one of the biggest donors to the DNC in 2020, Steve Kirsch, only put up $2 million as opposed to.
That's about 1/10 middle class person earns in a year. So between $94,000 and $153,000 per year. That's
what upper middle class makes.
The upper middle class.
That sounds crazy. That sounds like middle class to me.
That's the 60th to 80th percentile.
You're living a much better life than most of us, then, man. You are.
Lower class.
I'm not making that much.
People make $45,000 to $65,000 a year.
Well, the thing about that is, and after I get done, I would like to hear what Cheney's thoughts. But the thing about that is due to social media, we get to see an extreme glamorization of these people that a lot of times don't even have the money they're representing. And where before this, when I was a kid, I knew of one millionaire. It was Ron Rivett, because in Aberdeen, South Dakota, where I'm from, which is where Super 8 started, that's where Ron Rivett's from, and Super 8 took off. That other than that, I didn't know what, I couldn't have named another millionaire. Now, due to the social media, everybody has these millionaires have become a celebrity status. And so it's made it in people's minds something that they can attain without understanding the sheer volume that $1 billion is. That's a lot. Yeah, that's to have that in actual equity is insane. And so I think social media has blurred that, where actual normal people, 99% of us, are making under $500,000, under $250,000. Most of us are still making under $80,000.
Balderson, it is worse
what
than
we're
that.
living on.
It's worse than
And
that,
that's as a
Balderson.
couple.
We talk about the national debt of trillions of dollars like it ain't shit. It's worse than just the billions, and how social media has kind of just exploded this concept. Because, like you're saying, it's crazy how much money. Have you ever tried to count to a billion? So much, man. It's so much, and it's hard to imagine that there are people that have that kind of money. And like I said, Elon Musk bought Twitter for $44 billion. He just had that. You know, he had to borrow some, but you know, people were willing to give it to him because he was good for it. All right. I was curious where I think you were getting somewhere with that, because I'm still trying to understand how it connects to
something about Miriam
Elon
Adelson
Musk
having money and then doing something with money.
Was Sheldon Adelson the one that started Fox? Was that Sheldon Adelson?
I don't think that I would recognize the name of the person that started Fox.
Sheldon Adelson was a casino magnate.
All right, that's where I know that. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, Sheldon Adelson hired ex-Mossad to make sure that they ran security for his casinos. That's an ancillary point. What the point that I'm trying to make is that people with extreme amounts of money and influence can and do influence people in perceived positions of power.
Oh, absolutely.
The president is a person in a perceived position of power. Congress are people in perceived positions of power. They are not people in actual positions of power, because as the Stanford study in 2017 showed us, it doesn't matter what people think. It matters what lobbyists think. I would be happy to bring this up right now. In fact, I've had like all kinds of fucking clips that I could play to underscore all of my positions. You don't have to listen to me. You really don't, man. You can have the opportunity to listen to people in positions of actual influence who are telling you the exact same things that I am. It ain't me, bro. It ain't. I'm not telling
But
you this.
you understand that all, because you're like I said, my dad is, you know, he's of that world. You know, he QAnon,
QAnon
bit all
is
of
a
it. Went,
fucking
well, hold
LARP,
on.
buddy.
Yeah, but still, I understand what it's like engaging with this side of the internet. Okay, so what ends up happening is trying to get to an understanding where you're coming from. We end up going down this rabbit hole that devolves into another rabbit hole that devolves into another rabbit hole, to the point that the original point that we're trying to reach is now out of sight. We're nowhere near, because I'm still not understanding how any of this means that Elon Musk is bad for, you know, creating Tesla and SpaceX and taking over Twitter, and I'm not understanding how any of this means that Elon Musk is a bad guy.
Okay, so I showed you without any kind of equivocation that Elon Musk wants to turn Twitter into the Chinese Communist Party's WeChat. I showed you that. We all watched
do the equivalent, like the American equivalent of, like Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, but TikTok. There's a different version of TikTok in China than there is here in America.
No, stop.
It's copied over, but it's not the same.
Stop. Elon Musk, in his own words, said there is nothing in the West like they have in China.
Yeah, that's why he wants to bring it to the West.
In his own words, said
to bring it to the West,
to copy what they have in China.
Yeah, we've already been over all this. I understand. I'm not. I watched the
WeChat has brought
into the WeChat of the West.
What benefits have WeChat brought to China?
Fucking excuses. There's a difference.
No. I'm not making excuses. I'm not reading into what he's saying. Whatever fits my agenda. Whatever fits whatever I'm comfortable with him thinking. He's only allowed to think whatever you think he's allowed to think. Anything else is not even possible.
No,
you say when he says I want to copy, that means that he wants communism in America. That's what you're saying. And you understand that this does not logically track whatsoever. You're using a word concept fallacy to say that when he says copy, he wants exactly what they have over here. It's shorthand for saying they've got a really good idea. Why don't we have this really good idea over here too?
You have a totally different definition of copy than the one.
No. The way that people use word in English when they speak with each other, they simp. Well, what's a simp? I thought a simp is a retard, right?
Is it? No, dude.
No. You see how words get used differently? Because a simp is a simpleton also. It's a word concept fallacy that you're using. You're saying copy only means this one very particular thing. And if you ever say copy, you mean to copy it zeros and ones all the way through. You're adding that in without any.
I can't believe you can. Yeah, I can't believe you're not drowning in your own cope. Holy fuck, dude. Do you realize how much cope you put onto that? Elon Musk said, I'm going to copy the Chinese Communist Party's WeChat and put
confirmed for the 10th time. I confirmed for the 10th time. He has said it, and I've confirmed that he has said it 10 times. We got it. He said he's going to copy it. What he means by that is where we disagree.
Let's go back to the payment processing thing.
When I say that I'm going to copy your paper,
the exact same kind of payment processing platform.
Yeah. When I say that I'm going to copy your answers on the test, I'm not making a one-to-one copy where it's actually just duplicated the piece of paper, the test. No, I see what he done and then I do it. I see what he done on that answer and then I do it. I'm still doing it. But so it's not copying if you want to get technical with it. See, what you are attributing to copy something that you cannot justify. You're just reading that in. You're speculating as to what he means by copy.
I'm not speculating. I played the clip of him saying it.
All right. And so where did he say, all right, if we watched, I must have missed this part. Where did he say that, copy means I want to copy the base code of the system over here and I want to bring that exact same system over here, code and all? Can you show me where he said that? Or did he just say, I want to copy WeChat? Which would be no different than Chevy saying, I want to copy Ford.
Equivocation that has no fucking bearing.
It's called an analogy. Analogy.
And I know that. So why the fuck would you even introduce it into this?
Analogy.
Come on, dude. That's some fucking bullshit, dude. Why the
analogy
fuck did you ever say that shit?
Because you are not understanding. You're not tracking. You're not understanding what it is I'm trying to explain. So I'm using an analogy to hope that looking at the analogy might clear up what I'm trying to say over here. Because what we're on the copy thing, we're not getting anywhere. So if we move to another part and we try to resolve it there, it can fold in.
I'm just saying that he said it in a different
Well,
way, and he said
still
it
haven't-
because he
you
said
still
it in a
haven't made
different
the
way.
case,
And I'm
Steve.
saying that he
Steve.
said it means that he didn't say it in
Steve.
the way that he said
Steve.
it. Just because
Steve.
you heard it,
Steve.
and say it in the way that he said it. doesn't mean that he said it.
You haven't
Come
made
on,
the
dude, what
case.
the fuck?
You haven't made the case
Why
for
would you do
why
that?
this is
That's
bad.
dumb. Stop
make
being
the case
dumb.
for it being
Don't
bad,
be
brother.
dumb on purpose.
Make the case for it being bad. You're making an assumption in it.
Cheney.
Shame. Yes.
Hi.
Who's your favorite Adelson?
I don't know. Is that somebody on Little House on the Prairie?
Did they have a lot of money back then?
I don't
Building
know.
all
It
those
depends
little
what a lot of
houses?
money was. They probably,
if you-
depending on their amount of silver and gold, they might have had a good amount.
Build a few tiny
you wanna
houses
be a
200 years ago, you're a
legitimate
billionaire
town
today.
in the Dakotas or southern Minnesota, one of the Ingalls Wilder people needs to have at least shit in your town, or else it can't even actually be a legitimate town.
That means it's good soil.
Yes. Yes. Like 3 little girls will show up in bonnets and you can choose which one is you like and start your own little family, and everything will just grow magically.
Michael Landon. That was a more innocent time.
So if we gave those families in Oak Grove a credit card, imagine what they could build with it. If they just go to Home Depot and they buy all the lumber they want, they could build larger houses.
Man, they could, if they had the credit card, they could have went to Mankato every week.
Sure.
And then you know what? Then they might not have had to. But you know that is a band, a near band story now, because what's his name? It's a pedophile thing now, because he's Manly hooked up with the sister when she was like 14 or something. So that can't be promoted anymore.
Oh, right. And childbirthing.
Because we're overlaying the moral systems of today onto those and of people of that time, and presuming that they should have had the same discretion from the moral zeitgeist of today as then.
So Little House on the Prairie, 1850s, if they had access to immediate lumber, could they have built larger houses for everybody in the community? And wouldn't that have been a great thing for everyone to have a large home? Should people be prevented from having homes of a great size?
Back then, it would have been a problem, because how are you going to heat the home? Like, you're talking about, I mean, yeah, in
Burning
southern
corn
Minnesota,
husks?
they have trees, but not in any of the Dakotas or Wyoming or anything. The settlers brought the trees with them. That's why they were living in sod houses and had their animals inside the houses with them, in order to keep heat for themselves and the animals. Like, trees were a luxury.
Could build a larger home around a smaller home, and that would act as insulation, so the interior of the home would stay warm. I don't know if efficiency matters here in terms of give someone enough resources and they don't need to be
you got to
efficient.
have enough trees to burn to heat the home. And if you have a giant home, like, I don't know, I live off of a wood stove, and it takes us 4 or 5 cords a year to heat our home, and we don't even live in a particularly cold place. We do cook off of it. So that
4 cords a year, and it's not a big house. I promise you.
Yeah,
I promise you.
So over time, copying.
Yeah, Steve lived with me for a little while.
Leads to innovation, leads to increased efficiency.
Like, you got to start chopping. I promise you, bro.
That's a technocratic mindset, though, Marcus. It is. You can't
In
apply
in
a
1850, there
technocratic
wasn't an
mindset
internet.
to a realistic atmosphere. You can't. History has shown that you can't do that.
I'd have to end up spending 6 months of the year cutting wood and splitting wood just to heat that son bitch.
Unless we give you capital and money and gold, and then you can buy everybody else's wood.
I'm not trying to be loud.
Greed is good, right? Everybody
You
can be
get me all
greedy.
that.
They can
You
collect
get
all the
me all
resources.
that.
And then once you have an abundance of resources, then you can build larger things for everybody. But, you know, in Minecraft, when you start a new server, nobody has anything. And then the players that put in the most time and effort over time get to reveal who has the best hacks. So now if you can see where the diamonds are, then you can just go directly to the diamonds. So the people who don't use the transparent texture to see where the diamonds are, they're at a
That's
disadvantage.
assuming everyone lives on top of a diamond mine.
Well, there's other resources.
People don't always live on top of a diamond mine.
It might be Amish cookies. It could be, you know, Amish fighting against the cookie mafia out of Utah, the crumble cookie. That's innovation. You make a new sort of cookie sales terminal, and you can just efficiently sell chocolate chips.
You allow for people to innovate, and you have to allow for the time.
And we have to allow for failure. So some of the businesses will
not
fail.
Everybody lives on top of a diamond mine. That's a horrible analogy.
Actually, I think it's a perfect analogy if you really think about it. Some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth. Some people, just by dint of where they're born or their status, their family status in society, that would be born metaphorically, would be born on top of the diamond mine.
Let's apply that across the board. How many people over the course of a geographic and fucking mineral plot live on top of a diamond mine? No, dude, that's a horrible analogy. Let's find a better one.
Yeah, I think it's completely apt. It's the
dude, but you've had horrible.
So, are you saying that all people are born on the same level? We all have the same income when we're born.
Nobody has that, dude. What the?
Okay, so some people have more diamonds under them than others.
Dude, you're talking in absolute fucking.
If you're Elon Musk's kid, you were born on top of a diamond.
We were talking payment processors, so we're talking people who print the money out, and the people who have the money.
Back into reality a little bit, where people live.
It's a metaphor.
Where your fantasy lives.
Are we talking access to funding? You brought up access to funding and how that plays out. Having friends who can fund your bank account so you can purchase something that is with it's outside of your means. So if you need $44 billion to purchase a tech company, and then you can call up all your friends and say, you know, I got a week to come up with a large chunk of change. Now I'm going to purchase an election in a few years. But right now,
how many people on the planet does that apply, though?
Well, history is just
about as many as live on top of a diamond mine.
Give us 1,000 more years, and there may be more.
Yeah.
But the first movers and shakers, innovators.
So how many people on the planet does this scenario that you're putting forth apply to
today?
I mean, any of the incredibly wealthy people you see.
So what percentage of the overall population does that apply to?
Almost none.
If we're talking about 0.0001% of the population, okay. But can we talk about the people that actually populate the population? Could we? Maybe if we're
but this is the rabbit hole in the rabbit hole, right? We're fixing to move off of the one topic to talk about another topic. If we want to resolve the topic we're on, we got to stay within this realm to try to figure it out.
Hey, look, man, my girl is seriously pissed off that I'm talking, so I'm gonna dip. You guys have a good night.
Gotcha.
We'll see you, man. It was good talking to you.
Night, Steve.
So the rabbit hole and the rabbit hole and the rabbit, is it just this never-ending sequence of rabbit holes? So we're trying to get out of,
if you don't stop the rabbit, yes.
So to get out of, so what is your solution to get out of the solipsistic rabbit hole within a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole?
No, I just mean, so in this, sorry, my kid is bugging out in there. In this,
So what happens with the energy? You raise the energy and people get energized.
That's funny. And the three of us got nothing going on in the background. We're just sitting all around here like, do. Chaney and I are playing with our cats.
Yeah. Well, he ought to be asleep, but he ain't. So
just relax.
Give me a minute, and we'll come back to this.
Sure.
Not a problem, brother. Take care of the kids. You betcha.
So our resident rabbit hole expert Cheney over here, don't you use that as a logo sometimes?
Yeah, I love it.
So
I
rabbit
think the
holes are good.
Yeah, I think the first part of like going back to your inner child is not thinking you know everything. So you have to who, what, when, where, why, what, and you have to go and start asking the questions again. It's the way you break the programming. So I love a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole within a rabbit hole, because eventually we all end up in the same place. You can start with conspiracy, you'll end up in spirituality, or vice versa, but we're all just mixing up what we really don't know. And in the long run, it's no matter what we're arguing about, it's really because we're all insecure about what happens when we die.
That is
So
not healthy.
Yeah, and in my real life, I've stared death in the face, and I really have. It's just like I don't need to change anyone's mind. Like, I just have my own vibe, my intuition, my thing, what's going on. So yeah, to get like emotionally tied into something that we would just be debating about what religion means at its core, or debating this or that. That's the same way as taking any old clip of anyone and then like trying to guesstimate what this thing means. And taking technology doesn't mean taking communism, but it could mean even worse than that. That's where I think we just have to be diligent. But
we're the big.
I'm a glittery red pill person. I walked on the edge of death in real life, and so I really believe in my heart, death is unconditional love, and I am not ready to go there yet. Like, I am not ready for unconditional love, but I'm not scared of unconditional love anymore. And so it makes it easier in my real life to accept unconditional love.
Does May Musk love her son Elon Musk unconditionally on SNL?
That
I don't know.
ability.
I think you're watching a movie. I think you're like, the world's a stage, and everybody's taking part in what they think their favorite character or least favorite character is, and how invested you get in that character and how much you let that character dictate your life. That says more about you than me. So I'm just going to keep doing maskless shit, words I can't say, so we don't get taken off YouTube, Fauci, ouchie shit. I'm just going to keep doing that shit. And it seems to be working out right now. And the way I look at the world, it's like everyone used to try to wake everyone up all the time. That was the goal of all these podcasts. Now the world's woke up and they're really pissed off about it. It's like you used to be the only one that listened to that album called 9/11's an Inside Job. Then the world found out, and you're like, but wait, they don't know as much as I do about this thing. It becomes a weird way of a PCR test, but it's a mental PCR test that we're doing, that we're trying to prove I'm a bigger conspiracy theory. I ask more questions. I've read more Manly P. Hall. I've read Aleister Crowley, but have you asked this? Have you even, do you even know a heathen? Do you know an alchemist for real though? You know, so it's just like, what are we up to?
I've never met one.
I know.
You have
That's
to pronounce men's names
I dropped Balderson's name, so I'm like, what are you talking about? Alchemy?
Crowley, not Crowley.
I know. So I just
Crowley.
everything, yeah, even that, the pronunciation of things. You'll talk to some people and you'll be able to go good and evil, and some people will be like, "There's no such thing as good and evil." Some people you can talk about black and white. Some people there's no such thing as black and white. Some people just want to dissect words as we go, and I'm like, I am not here to change anyone's mind anymore. I already did that fight. So it's like, to me, Pluto is really in Aquarius for the first day today. And so I feel a new energy And I don't think it always has to be technical energy out there. I feel it in here. And so I've watched everyone get dismantled by really a fake news on every social media platform and every TV and every other Black Mirror. But now X is a bad Black Mirror. But X, I can say my piece. And if Ben disagrees, he can community note it. And if Alan comes along, he can up Ben's community note. So eventually it can take over my post and come up that it's like, this is kind of bullshit. So there isn't any AI monitoring me. This is what you can't do when people are like, oh, free speech, free speech. It's not. It's like going in the park and thinking you can walk around naked. It's a public forum. So there is amount of decorum.
Did you happen
have
to
to
read
carry
our group
yourself.
chat? Did you have access to that? Did you hack into our chat?
No.
Because that was the topic we wanted to discuss with you, was public nudity, and you just brought it up. So that's very suspicious of you.
Perfect. You must have got some kind of hidden X cam. You must be a member of my OnlyFans.
No, I'm accusing you of being the voyeur and looking into our private, secret, hidden chat rooms.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, well, it's very, very suspicious.
Most
that
of the time, too many chats or mails overwhelm me. But I don't know. I'm just not scared. You can take as much part in it as you want to take or not. Like, I just want the freedom to or not. And so as long as that's a thing, and for right now, for what it's worth in the ship, I am fucking grateful it's not Kamala Harris. And we're not even there yet, you guys. We're not even to Inauguration Day. So I feel like, hold on to your hat still. This movie's still going to get good. We haven't even made it to aliens yet. That's what comes in the script.
Interesting. I'll give you interesting. I don't know if it's good or bad yet. I mean, it's going to take a few years of 2020 vision, look in the back rearview mirror to see, well, what happened in 2020 and how did that influence this election? And now we're going through the business history of one Elon Musk. And I'm asking you if, when you see him on a comedy show and his mother describes her son as being on a spectrum and just kind of always being like that, maybe Asperger's or whatever it was she said. I don't know. Does that humanize this guy who's done some business moves? And I understand that, Trump is also a businessman, and there are businessmen who aren't even in this public spotlight who might be great benefactors, and they might die and their wealth goes and builds schools and education centers for, disenfranchised youth, that sort of thing. But we're talking about real people with real business acumen and real desires to push things forward. And specifically, if it's Elon Musk, because that's kind of what we're talking about the most tonight, is Elon Musk, the DOGE father, again, DOGE, reverse it, eGod, that's the electronic god, right? Are we worshiping this man? And has he set up his entire thing in the same way Trump did, where Trump surrounded himself with gold, and now he's kind of the president, kind of the king of the United States of America under a theocratic Christian national fascist, whatever words you want to throw at him. And my other complaint was all these women who were in politics, they weren't wearing ties. So I didn't know the color of their tie to determine what their affiliation was. You wear the right color tie to play on your team. So then we don't have friendly fire. Follow me here?
Yeah, so there was a period of time, I don't know if I froze for you guys or, you guys completely went out for me. So then I didn't know if it was me or the room. So I did miss a part of it, but I don't know how much of it. I was panicked. I was about to text you guys. When you get that technological jab, when you're like, oh shit, did I fall off stream?
Well, and we do have to thank.
I hope not, because we can't get StepFir back in either. It's Steve's stream.
It's
so
Pluto.
StepFir is taking care of his kids quick and dropped off, and he can't come back in now.
That's all right, because we are running up against a running clock.
Oh.
There's a time limit. You did talk about death and not fearing death.
I think a lot of the people that work on computers at the highest level are autistic. I think a lot of us are on the spectrum in a lot of ways to the things they say. And if you ever talk to ChatGPT or Grok, it's autistic. And if you kind of talk to it autistically, which means sometimes you have to take your emotion out of shit. Like you have to take all the frill out of it and just say what you need to say. And that's kind of, if you really want the computer to kind of work for you, you kind of have to do it in that way. And so I think it wasn't like it was people that were good in social settings in real life that were designing all the software and hardware and chemistry, like everything I would think that would be scientific and technology. So Elon, being a computer nerd, they all seem weird to me at the get. So when they call them weird, I'm like, that's literally how every guy I know that's really great on computers and that kind of like weird brain, they are a little different. And so I don't know it about him, but I just know other people that seem to be of that mindset that it's like,
what about
you can't take
Zuckerberg?
it personally sometimes.
I think
the same way, doesn't it seem like a different Zuckerberg? Remember the Zuckerberg we grew up with? I said this at the beginning.
This one looks more dolphin-like.
A little
less
built,
hair,
jujitsu,
smoother skin.
Yeah, I know people can change their body. I know people age. I know people get plastic surgery, but some of these people seem like they were either replaced or cloned. And I don't really get down with the clone thing. I mean, not that I don't even know if it's real or not. I just think part of it, even Dolly the sheep, like here's a sheep, we cloned it.
They're
like
using video filters. I've got video filters running right now.
Yeah, it just feels like, how would you know if this sheep was cloned from? Ben might know. Ben might be the only one that could tell two sheep apart. And I don't mean in a nasty way. Everyone
have to taste them.
I don't mean in a
Smell them, lick them, touch them.
Well, I just feel like even in look, he's probably been around sheep. I'm like, one sheep would all look like the rest of the sheep. It'd be like picking out a golden retriever unless you had a golden retriever.
Yeah. No, I literally grew up raising sheep. I can absolutely tell the difference between different sheep without even looking hardly. Like even the same with the cats. I know the difference. There's some of the cats I don't really know them that well, so I don't like know their names or nothing, but I can tell the difference between them.
Can you determine the sheep online when you go to x.com or you log into WeChat or whatever the platform is, and you see that there's a person who's you assume it's a person posting something. I mean, it's like if I'm chatting with someone on Snapchat, I just go through the list of randomly add to see out of the 100 people I added in the last 48 hours, and I get 20 responses. Maybe one of them is an actual quote unquote person representing themselves. The others might be representing themselves as a brand to sell their services illicitly, that sort of thing. Sock puppet accounts, people who have 5 different cell phones just sitting on their desk and their job is just to sit there.
What app are we talking about?
Any app, specifically with Snapchat for this discussion. What do you go on Snapchat for? To be social, to talk with people so you can add them. You don't know who they are and you want to get to know them because you want to be social. And then you discover these women are not being social back without, wanting to hook you in. And it's the same thing with when Elon Musk buys Twitter and he talks about the bots on Twitter. Well, he just took out some bots and replaced them with other bots.
Yeah, dude. I joined Twitter to try and because a lot of the bigger to debate guys, they have Twitter and that's how they message back and forth. And so I finally got the Twitter, and 90% of my followers are always some bot chick.
Right. So in my experiment of, downloading Threads, which is like a Twitter clone, you could call it a copy. I don't think we can say the word copy. That word is in the penalty box tonight. So we'll say it's an imitation of an existing software that I have familiarity with. The function is you post 140 characters. This is log into Instagram, and now from Instagram I can create a Threads account and I can act on Threads differently because it has a different input box. So the expectations of what I input it are different, but we also have time. So it's not 2014. It's not the early days of Twitter. It's not 2008 Twitter. We're not talking about, will Obama be our first black president? We have years of experience using social media. So logging into Threads and trying to figure out, well, there aren't advertisements here. What do we talk about? It's like you give someone a tool without the instructions and you say, play with it. You can hurt yourself, you can injure yourself, you can embarrass yourself, or you can make $1 million by selling influence, like influencers. So now when people are given Threads and they're using it to promote their work, I don't know what the following count is, because people get banned and they create new accounts. If you create a new account and you begin to build up a new following, like a cult, like an influencer type of a thing, and they'll be selling stuff. So I don't get feedback from other people to say, yes, this person's verified as a real human being. They're representing their branding. So they're trying to sell you an e-course. Everybody is trying to sell something. You know, Snapchat, they're trying to sell you sex. Threads, they're trying to sell you e-courses and training and expertise and coaching. Social media, it really isn't even social. It's all selling of ideologies, ideas, brands, these types of things. So it would be naive for us to pretend that we don't have a reason for doing what we're doing. I think that was brought up earlier in the conversation to say, why did you invite me on the stream? What is your reason for talking about Elon Musk and then showing me all these video clips? So like, what is the reason you're doing these things? And we're just here for entertainment, for discovery, for conversation, for knowledge sharing, for what does your perspective look like from Florida? We were almost to Florida, but there was a hurricane. So the weather prevented us from going further. So we went north to go south because we had to go around, because North Carolina, Asheville, that city is not on the map anymore. I don't know. I think they have to wipe that out and say, no, it's just a lake now. It's a pond. It's a puddle. People can't live here anymore. So maps change over time. Social media platforms change over time. And I get that it's 2024 and we have to engage with the internet, and that naturally it will follow that there will be an application that a government, whatever the government looks like, going forward for American citizens to log in to check what their property taxes are going to cost and what they owe, and making payments, combining payments and taxes and paying parking tickets. It makes sense that would be more efficient. The pushback might be, well, you know, government need humans and seats at desks to do office work, because if they don't have jobs, then we don't have, you know, income. If people don't have income, then they don't spend the money. So now we have to figure this out. And if the solution is universal basic income, I don't know if we're quite there yet. So the problem is, and this is where we feel the heat and the anxiety and the frustration when we're looking at numbers, it hurts in the pocketbook. So going back to the PayPal mafia, you know, Visa and MasterCard and PayPal, when they were saying, well, we don't want to set a precedent where we can allow money to go towards whistleblowers or revealing government secrets, military contract secrets, you know, atrocities, sexual scandals, all the blackmail, that sort of stuff. So if we can pay to support that, that's not going to look good going forward. So they have to cut that off. It's interesting that at the same time Bitcoin emerges, kind of out of 2008 financial crisis, Occupy Wall Street, Bitcoin white paper, Satoshi Nakamoto, all that stuff. So 2009, and then we get an Occupy Wall Street. But then to use Bitcoin to be a way to support WikiLeaks is an interesting part of the story. So is that to say Bitcoin exists because WikiLeaks exists? They were functioning.
No, it was because they thought it was an untraceable form so they could deal with human trafficking and snuff films. That's why it exists. Everything always exists because of
fund
porn
WikiLeaks. You
and
couldn't
jerking
use
off and
PayPal.
sex.
You couldn't use PayPal. You couldn't use
WikiLeaks was
Visa.
like-
Bitcoin was the option and the experiment to try to use it to send money to WikiLeaks, to the website, the organization, whatever. So that was the experiment. People didn't know if it was anonymous or if it could be tracked back to them or how to function with that. That was part of the experiment moving forward. That was part of the innovation of Bitcoin. It's part of Bitcoin history.
Yeah. So everyone who did anything nefarious on it, they would have a fully tracked wallet.
That's
What if it was
hindsight.
only there for that?
We know that now, but then we didn't know that. So now the fear of Elon Musk and his influence with Peter Teel and the Adelsons and money and all these people, emerging together and then becoming more powerful together, talking, that creates anxiety a little bit. Like, what's the worst they could do? What's the best they could do? Well, could they be good and evil at the same time and cause damage and destruction to their enemies? Well, am I on their good side?
I don't know, but I'm so glad we didn't have to try to write this in an article and send it out in paper and have it ran with ponies to everyone's mailbox. And we got to just say it all here on a public platform on our microphones.
Via Elon Musk's Starlink.
Not yet, but there are
some of us are.
places that if during storms, I'm sure people were real grateful that there was Starlink and they weren't waiting for the government.
Well, that goes back to the hurricane relief effort.
Yeah.
Using ponies and mules and all the available resources.
Well, we could have helped a lot more instead of just that. It was just that the government is corrupt. And so it needs to be held accountable and maybe on a blockchain. It's already there.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, the only way to dismantle it is if people are paying attention to what the fuck it's doing. No one's paid attention till now. This is the first time ever. This is the most paid attention to. This is the only way. They have to notice. They wouldn't know what any of these cabinet positions are. They wouldn't know who half the people are. But now they're paying attention. So it's a good thing they're watching the movie because this shit has been happening on top of them their entire lifetime. So this is the first time they're actually paying attention. And we were all shadow banned for saying the same shit. But now we can say it. Feels okay to me.
When I started talking, I gave a free NFT available to people through my website. I made a joke about a papal hat, PAPAL, because it sounds like pay, PAY, pal, PayPal, and PayPal. So then I made the joke that the hat was like the bucket you put coins into. So I was asking Elon Musk to bless me. He's the DOGE father. He has some spiritual godlike authority. Godfather being that sort of thing.
He's
so it's
dark
all
MAGA.
Sure. So I was asking him to bless me and deposit Dogecoin into my account because I made this art which brought awareness to ideas. So I was asking for some funding. I'm a little upset that my Dogecoin wallet wasn't filled up. So that's me harboring resentment and hate and negative emotions because I didn't get funded. Yeah, maybe I just have to update my wallets.
Maybe.
Rockfin quit really.
I got a piece of gold in the mail today.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a piece of gold in the mail today, and I got some cryptocurrency in my wallet today. So I'm grateful for both ends, and they both feel like currency to me. I also feel like I had a whole bunch of people in my life just like send me love. That feels like currency to me too. I had somebody feed me a meal. That feels like currency to me too. So I just think you can fight against what currency you hate. That's it. Some people hate putting their stuff in stocks. Some people hate putting their stuff in a 401k. Some people think tractors are a waste of gas. So it's just you decide. Everything is an amount of energy you want to put in or take out. And some people are really bad at investing. They're bad at investing in stocks. They're bad at investing in people. They're bad at investing in themselves. And I just think, that goes to show. You can usually see those people.
There are coaches that will help them out.
Lots of coaches.
Lots of life coaches.
Ready to siphon off that energy.
Books to purchase to improve. That's innovation. And access to gurus is something that we have now.
We always had it.
Yeah, I mean, we've given access to people tonight to speak
There
with
used to be
us.
people
We're
that came
gurus.
across our TV and they were like, I'll tell you your fortune if you just call this number.
Miss Cleo.
Yeah, Miss Cleo will tell you your stock, what coin you want to pick tonight.
You call the Psychic Friends Network. You talk to Miss Cleo.
They're all in
We have
California
millions
now.
of happy customers.
I see the California Psychic advertisements.
No, there's so many advertisements for their therapy now.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Like, how many of you people are seeing a therapist?
It's the therapy delivery technology. The problem was you'd have to drive and sit down on a couch. Now you can stay in your house where you're already agoraphobic, but you have internet. So now you can stay in your house and contact.
I'm not speaking for the chicks, but for dudes, get the fuck outside.
It's laziness.
Quit talking to a therapist. Go fucking build a wall. Go do something. Rake a yard.
Laziness is addictive.
The first
in
step
every
to
way.
therapy is getting up and going outside to meet a therapist and realizing as you're at the door of the therapist, you know what? I went outside on my own. Don't need a billable hours for therapy right now. I'm already outside. Now I can just keep walking. Like the hardest thing is just to walk outside.
For an agoraphobic person, if that was their fear.
Right. And different goals for different people where they're at.
Yeah, if your fear was sharks, you might be able to go outside fine, but once a year you might need some therapy to get in the water. Coaching. I'm not scared of sharks. I think I'm scared of snakes, but I really think my biggest fear would be open ocean. I've decided, like, seeing the vessel I was on go off, and I have also decided into the moonlight, like a full moon, and seeing just
that is terrifying. I mean, knowing
even getting a ring to someone. Like if I was on deck with you and you went over, my first instinct would be to jump. That's the worst thing you could do, because now there's just both of you, and the chance that you're going to end up so far away from each other are higher. And even if I were to throw a ring, I couldn't get it to you. Dude, I've thought about that. I think the open ocean, scariest. Like scarier than snakes, scary. Yeah. Not even sharks. Psh, that's your secondary. Like that's a secondary fear over just sitting there in the ocean.
Like dying of exposure like that, just laying there fucking dying. The best part, if you don't get eaten by a shark or something, at best, you lay there until you die of fucking dehydration and thirst.
Cracked, dry lips.
Oh.
Yeah. So I don't know. That seems scary.
Sounds horrifying.
If they were gonna, because Osama bin Laden, if that guy's real, but that seems like taking somebody out to sea, like instead of killing them in the moment, like if somebody really did that shit, which none of us believe that shit, but let's say like tyranny. Let's talk about Hillary Clinton. Better than a firing squad, taking her to open ocean. Walk the plank, bitch. Like a pirate.
Oh.
Is that cruel and unusual punishment?
There's no habeas corpus out at Maritime. That's why we're at Gitmo right now, because we don't have to abide by any of the laws of this land. And that seems to me alone, that's spell shit. That's magic shit. That's a spell. We buy Gitmo for gold.
Drop rocks on an oil platform.
And then just that close, just in Gitmo, that close, we could just do whatever we want. That is wild magic shit. Like, what kind of spells do you have there? They hold warlocks we can't hold anywhere else. Like, what's going on? Seems weird.
Did you see the meme about putting politicians in crystals, like trapping people in crystals?
No, but that
was
seems
getting some
like
traction.
I probably would believe in that.
Yeah, that's the Andrew Wilson's crew. That's
Okay.
hilarious. That's
Okay.
hilarious.
That's my biggest disappointment from this election is there weren't enough general culture memes. It's like the side that was, both sides, like, there's probably three sides, the neutral ground and then the left and the right and people in the center, but there just weren't enough interesting memes that were culturally beneficial to everyone. I think that was the magic meme of the frog guy, where it was like, you know what, we can all be magicians. I think that's why it caught on, because it was not necessarily saying this guy's bad, this guy's good. It was like, we all have the potential of magic and creativity in us, and they were willing for one outcome, maybe. But that was the question I asked earlier last week, and now Cheney's here. I'll ask Cheney specifically. It was the whole meme magic idea of what happened with the first Trump election, and then TikTok witches hexing the moon and, speaking into existence what they didn't want. They were saying we're against the patriarchy. So at some point, if that magic just whiplashed them and slapped them back in the face, is that kind of what happened this go around in your mind?
No, I don't know. And if the matriarchy were really abortions, then maybe, but I don't believe the matriarchy is. Like, I just think that's this faux side that Lady Gaga tried to sell us. I don't believe in that. I think those Hollywood witches, their magic fell. Whatever the weight of Hollywood was, they lost it. Whatever the weight of CNN, Fox News, our whole life we've grown up with this media cycle, they lost their magic. It was like the wizard's head was cut off somewhere along the way that we didn't know, and the spell unraveled. That's what it feels like. Could it all be a setup? Sure. But it's better than Kamala. It's better than communism. And I have real friends that they're here from communist countries where they're not allowed to worship anything and they're not allowed to say anything. And so as long as I can, I will. And people that come from communism and think, oh, everything's the same, it's just the opposite. No, and they don't fight the same either. And so like our moral codes aren't the same as the communists. No. And so I will always.
Those people are motherfucking hungry.
The reason that I feel like I don't have children is because whatever it means, like whatever the idea that a slave thinks, that no matter even if they've been slave their whole life, they have this faint little light in the back of their head of freedom. I'll fight for that my whole life. Even if I don't even realize what kind of slave I am. What kind of slave is everyone? We're all like at some level in the system. So I just think it's up to you to decide what level you want to be involved in it. Do you want to LARP at all? Do you want to play in the 3D at all? That's a magic of its own. Some people are very great at putting on that suit and LARPing, and I give them kudos as well. I don't have it anymore, but some days I really do, and I love serving people. I love it. It's not a LARP. It's not a fake smile. And so I think other people out there must have it a lot more than me. Because I know people that go to work and they love working every day. They love what they do. They love their patients, their clients, their coworkers, their whatever. And so I don't know what kind of system but I'll fight against the ones I think are fucking corrupt. And if it smells like shit, I'll fucking say it. But
so you're telling me there's people that have a job and they're not overly concerned about how much or little they're making. They're not doing the job and comparing their income to other people in other parts of the world that do similar work.
Yeah, I feel like there's more people I know aren't on X. So even that it's talked about in this way, like most of the people I still know, like even Telegram, TikTok, Instagram, what's the Threads? Like most people I know, they never graduated Facebook.
We didn't talk about Blue Sky yet, which is literally a clone of Twitter circa 2010. It's like they rebuilt Twitter from like 2010 code and built that up with Jack Dorsey, I think.
It seems like there's a bunch of codes. There was like an open code. I always say like Gerardia. It was like an open code format that came out, and it kind of like in a WikiLeaks way was like that for software. Sure. And so it's almost like, what was that other one that Periscope? Remember how bomb ass Periscope was? Anytime there was a live event for a while, it didn't matter what the media event was. Everyone would go to Periscope and you'd find one of actual people holding the phone.
Before Instagram added live video to its platform.
Yeah, and then now you can't go on there immediately. Then it was started. It was we could be anonymous on Periscope. That was a cool part about it. And then once Instagram took it, now it's like, oh, Chaney, you're in trouble. You can't go live. That's most of the time.
I remember having some HTC slide phone and then having 3G internet on it, and I could go live anywhere that I could receive cell phone reception. I mean, coming from a broadcasting background, that was a realization of this is only going to increase in capabilities. And what are we going to do with it?
And that 15 minutes of fame thing makes more sense if Hollywood is shattered. Like everyone thought the 15 minutes was like American Idol. No, that was just you warming up your voice, bitch. Now we're on it. Welcome to the podcast. It's Spaces. It's Telegram. Come to the group chat. But it's all really ways because human nature and human instincts are kind of like chickens. We like to be around other humans. And so if they can fool us into thinking that this is the only community out there, then they kind of win a little bit. Then we're all chickens in our own little coop and we don't even know other chickens exist.
The community exists outside the platform. And we've been on Telegram, we've been on Twitter, we've been on all different places sharing what we're trying to do, but the community are the individuals who continue to find where we are and follow us through everything.
Not just you guys. I mean, there's people that don't leave their house in the way that you're saying, like agoraphobic, but it's not just that. It's that everything in life, human nature is that they will eventually, you will get lazier, the easier the thing is to come. The thing that innovates is like, scarcity. It's the way that it happens. So it's because we've gotten to this place that people are under the assumption that they're, it's the same way as instead of like calling my niece, I thumbs up her picture and I feel like I took part in her life. And that's kind of like what, hopefully what you hope for.
That's creepy though. It's like, I'm watching you.
What you hope for in things like this is that people develop community outside of just this. You hope they come here and find like-minded people. And they, carry on that it's not always Alan Marcus has to be there or otherwise no one's hanging out. You kind of hope that one of the things about your vibe tribe is that when people find it, it's not just about us entertaining anymore. Sure. It's like everybody in the chat, hopefully they're like, get comfortable with each other. They start to feel each other's vibe. They feel like they can come to Telegram, but then one day you have a friend somewhere that you can go visit, and like meeting your friend in real life and hugging them in the flesh is the greatest. It's like, it's better than, the only thing I can relate it to is if you've been a pen pal with somebody forever since camp and you don't see them for 20 fucking years and you guys have grown up, every day you pen pal and you just can't wait, but life never works out, but every day you pen pal. It's that person, but at least the person in camp you hugged once. It's such a cool feeling to me.
Are you reading my diary again? That's what I did at Bible. That's what I did at Bible camp. I knew, I'd see these people once a year, but there was like 2 different weeks, so I could go next year and not see the same church the next year if they went to a different week or something. So it was like, well, we have to stay in contact. This was before social media. We had maybe Blogger and Zanga blogs and things, so you could put websites up. But I just went around and just passed around some dumb object and a Sharpie, like write your email address, your name and your email address and your instant messenger or whatever. So people were giving me their AOL, they were giving me their MSN, they were giving me their Yahoo. And it was like, well, they all had different technologies that they like to be reached, but I could install all those things and then send them messages. And some of those people I stayed in contact for many, many years. I could probably still find them today and say, hey, remember that time in 2000 something when we hung out in camp and we did the thing, and we had that bonding experience. And it's sort of the value. So the community, we are sort of centered around a shared value of, like, I guess, good faith discussions of looking at scary topics together. There's bonding over that. It's like campfire stories. Like, how terrible could Elon Musk be? Well, he's maybe not so bad, but we kind of got heated about it and we bonded over it. And now we're laughing at it.
Yeah, it's all currency.
Yep.
And somewhere like all the currency still needs the real stuff out of the real world. Like all this electricity that we just solar panels and wind. Nope. It still needs real stuff. Like it still needs coal and fuel and petrol, gasoline. Like there's other ways. There's other engines that they keep murdering the fucking people. But we are under this whole idea that we can't have this thing because it's finite resourced. And it's like we're under this whole idea that we have to reserve this thing. And we're under this whole idea that it's not just plentiful or it's gonna, global warming. Like I just think that they could drill where it's gonna replenish in those wells. They don't have to keep popping everything. I just think there's the technologies that actually exist to harvest the energy that's actually there is like tenfold. But I don't think it comes from solar panels. I don't think it comes from windmills. But there's energy that needs to exist in the world. Like we could all go back to Little House on the Prairie, but if that were to happen tomorrow, most of the people die. Like most of the people don't make it. Only 1 of 20 will make it. And so I think you have to be prepared like Ben and learn everything that you can. Learn skills, have that stuff. And then I think you also stay abreast of what's going on out there. Even if you don't take part, stay abreast. Like know what kind of animal, know the dragon that you might be fighting against. Because Elon seems to think the biggest dragon we're going to be fighting against one day is technology and the computer. And that is a crazy whole thing. He's the guy that warns us mostly when he's sitting on Joe Rogan on the biggest platform is that AI is the scariest thing in the world. That's the only thing he fears.
No, we're not. We're going into a fucking Spider 12-hour marathon stream that never ends because we can't end it, and the guy who can left. and I totally agree with what Cheney was saying.
Pluto and Aquarius. We're going.
Hey, I'm a Scorpio, baby. This is my time. You're all in deep, deep trouble. But we're in a extremely feminine time, and the thing is, men don't do well with comfort. That's just a flat out thing. Now, women, you want to give them some comfort, and they thrive and they're happier. Men are kind of Spartan motherfuckers. Like, if you don't have a woman in the equation, there's a reason a dude can live in literally a one room with like just his couple things that he likes over in one corner and his bed in the other corner. Like, he's like, oh yeah, this is great. This is great. I sleep over here right there. It's on the bed. See, I sleep there and my stuff's right there. That's my stuff. And I poop and pee in there. It's great. Like, and dudes just tickled pink. This is wonderful. And dudes thrive the more you pressure them. The more you beat a dude up, like they will be. Oh, Steve
is back.
Hey.
Is everything good?
Oh, of course.
That's good though. Sometimes you just have to when you make it's a big deal sometimes. This is like from my girliest when I just feel it like a priority. I hope it was all gravy.
Oh yeah. We're good.
Steve likes it. He likes them fiery.
We promised Steve that there'd be fire opportunities. So this is a fulfillment of our contract.
StepFir3 dropped off, and then we couldn't put him back on because he had to take care of his kids like immediately after you did. So then it went from being a debate to just us three friends bullshitting around. So, but no, that was good stuff, Steve. That was the most fire this has had. Again, the only thing I would say is you just got to bear in mind that most of these guys, because it's not your show now, so these guys coming in don't have the breadth of knowledge that you have, and you're taking a bunch of things you've already researched and already put them in a box as a check mark box, and you don't have to look into that box no more, and they don't even know that box exists, and you're already taking it and presuming it. It's a problem that I noticed it the most because I have that. That's my biggest problem, that I make jumps and leaps that, to me, everybody knows this, right? Like, all my friends talk occult all the time. So what I just said is a super easy thing. Of course, 2 + 2 = 4. So I don't even need to explain that. I can just
say the sulfur of it all, and every one of your friends knows what you mean. But I'm over here like, what do you mean by this?
Like rotten eggs? Are you smelling it?
Yeah,
like farts.
Like, for me, I'm trying to jump right to my highest level of alchemy, where to me the sulfur and the salt are the same thing, and the feminine, only thing that's feminine is the mercury, and through the feminine of the mercury, the split polarity of the masculine comes back together and heals itself and becomes one again. And like, they're just like, what the fuck are you even talking about? And then like over on Easy Show, I'm not even going that high level with it. Then they put that whole blah 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 blah, blah with the retarded guy, because they didn't understand.
No, you can't use the R word like that. No.
If you say it more, this is what I realized. If you say either retarded, like if you just add a few times ahead of time, like you're revving it up, or if you add 2 words together, like faggot tard, then it's fine. Like, for some reason, the censors, there's like weird loops that we still beat the AI, because you have to keep your troll alive, like your inner asshole a little bit. You have to keep it alive. It's your meme magic. The thing that people that will get this will get this. The computer won't get it. That's the shit that your human still beats that thing. It's not creative.
He did this. You did this to the guys the other day too, which the other day it was great because they didn't know anything about you. So you kind of just came in and dropped a bombshell, but you got it. You can't start out with the fucking technocratic panopticon, bro. Nobody knows what the fuck a panopticon is.
I thought people did.
Technocratic occultocracy panopticon. It's like, I can't order that from Panera. I'm a waitress and I'm trying to take your order and you're speaking French.
Look,
we have waffles. WAFFLES. This is a Waffle House.
This is me being at fault. Okay, I'm at fault. I thought people.
No, it's just
basic fucking concepts of the world in which they lived in. My bad.
Your performance art. You know, are you on the street?
This is why we're in the learning to debate phase, because we are used to speaking and presenting, and it's an entirely different world.
That's why it's not called dog-faced debaters. It's deliberators. We're just working it out.
Yeah, we're working.
Did anybody watch the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight?
No, I kept buffering. I mean, I didn't pay for it. I mean, I'm not able to.
You didn't have to pay for it. But before that, there was a really good fight where these two chicks beat the fucking shit out of each other.
I hate women's boxing typically, but those two women fighting, they actually, it was like, if a woman comes in the UFC and she has that kind of skills and doesn't work on a ground game at all, just ground defense to get back onto her feet, she will beat every woman in the UFC.
This was pure boxing.
It was the best fight of the night.
That's what she's saying, though, that all she would need was takedown defense, because that boxing skill was so overwhelming.
It was so great. Both them girls impressed the shit out of me. And I usually hate female boxing fights, but that was the best fight of that night. Like, those girls were the superstars of the night.
Did they get paid the same as Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
Dude,
probably just because they're women, they made 70 cents to every dollar. I'm not that bitch. I'm just kidding.
The one thing I really was a little weird to me was, why didn't her eyebrow gash bleed more? That part I didn't get. Why didn't she bleed more here?
A lot of the times with the great cutmen, they will like stick adrenaline in there on a swab and then put so much ooze in there. Like the great cutmen can make it stop bleeding as long as I don't get you there again and separate it. Like, so if a good cut person can shut it, sometimes with the adrenaline, it'll like make it sticky really fast in there and it'll stay shut. But if they get popped in that again, then it'll just gash open.
It's
like
part of the sportsmanship of UFC and boxing to not blood your opponent so that they just bleed it out and you can't continue the fight. I mean,
if you cut them above the eye.
Okay.
If they cut it where it impedes their vision at all, then it has to be called by the doctor. And if the ref questions it at all, usually it's up here in the eyelid. And you'll notice like a fighter like Nate Diaz, he has like almost paper skin here and here. And so anytime he even gets the first punch, gash. And so every fight now for him.
Well, there's a little knob right there. I can feel it on mine, and I've got a scar. I don't know if you can see it on there, but you can see there's a scar right there. It's where I've been punched there and it's gashed open.
Yeah, I think a lot of like this.
Can we say gash?
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of
Well, that's what it looks like too. Yeah, I don't know. I was impressed by that lady fight.
That was mean. It really was. That was an interesting fight.
That Tyson fight, though, that was an expedition fight. He stood like he took too many leg kicks to the other leg. He didn't stand in his natural boxing form at all. So he didn't have his power hand. It was a weird, it was complete expedition. It was like there must have been contract small print that they signed with each other. Like he wasn't allowed to take a strike with his power hand and Jake wasn't allowed to do X, Y, and Z to him. Like it was probably so fine-tuned of a dance because the whole thing was just a run to see if Netflix, its streaming platform, could handle the UFC. That's it. Because
and
the
Amazon
UFC
is
up
also in the
for,
game.
Yeah, like
with
they just
streaming
want to
sports.
see how big of, because the UFC next year is up for the contract negotiation from ESPN, and they've become, because of WWE. Now here's this like conglomerate no one talks about all the time. WWE and UFC are both TKO, and they're this private entity owned by I think it's Rahm Emanuel's brother Ari Emanuel.
Wow.
So it's like
that's too close to Adelson's for my comfort. Getting hotter on the collar.
Fuck it, that was the best when Steve fucking laid that out, and he's like, and that's connected to the Adelsons. Like, who the fuck are the Adelsons, Steve? Like, what have they done? Why do you think they're bad people?
We were talking about the archetype of the QAnon conspiracy theorist uncle. So the guy who starts saying these words, he fulfills an archetype, and then the response is, I'm just muting the audio. So when Steve was on the Combat with a K show, the stream, for the first time guest, the chat, people were kind of saying, this got political. I don't want to hear politics. Now he's saying things that, so more and more people were announcing in chat that they had muted the audio, but they were staying in the stream. So it still shows a view count, but they weren't actually listening to the audio. Like that was the time for them to go to the kitchen and get snacks and make more popcorn and use the bathroom. I'm like, well, that's fine.
With those guys, though, it's because they don't understand what Steve's saying. They don't have enough background.
It's set in setting and context and receptibility.
The only thing that they were hearing was Steve's pooping on Trump. He's obviously a Kamala agent. Blah blah. That's all they heard, and that was the end of that.
It was a Trump. It was a Trump celebration. It was a victory, and then you come in and try to say, "Let's not stop celebrating, guys. I have some information to share."
Steve's like, there is a turd in the punch bowl, people.
To be fair, let's not celebrate until the president is put in office. We still have things to do, and Christmas coming up.
We still have an insurrection to maybe make it through.
We have to get through Thanksgiving.
We have to make it through the 25th Amendment not happening and Kamala still not being president.
There's 25 amendments. Didn't they get it right the first time or the second?
Well, all of the all of the Democrats are saying that they're going to use Section 3 of the 14th Amendment to get rid of Donald Trump, which will give
because
us
they're claiming he was in
Peter
an
Thiel's
insurrection.
golf glove. So we get Peter Thiel's golf glove if they get rid of Donald Trump. And won't that be nice? We have JD Vance. And JD Vance isn't even a human being without Peter Thiel.
I thought he wasn't human without his couch cushions.
Does Peter Thiel supply his eyeliner? His mascara?
Did anybody else call their Peter their peener? Like
Did
a no-no
anybody
part?
else, anytime they say Peter Thiel, they do something weird with their tongue that doesn't normally happen? They're like, what the fuck is that? What am I saying? Yeah, Peter.
Why am I
like,
talking about this? What is going on?
Peter, I feel like I have a lisp for 1 second and then I come out of it. Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel.
We are so fucked. The worst part about this is as this has progressed in the biggest takeaway for the last couple of years for me has been how very close to 1984 we are, where we look, Trumpy Trump had fucking Operation Warp, to make sure he got us the thing out. And his people that he's appointing were perfectly cool with that. So he's not backtracking on that one bit, like all steam ahead on that. Like that was a good deal. He's still bragging about it. Well, then all of a sudden and then the Republicans were fully for it. The Democrats were fully against it. They're like, this is untested, blah, 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 which was actually correct. They do tell the truth occasionally. And then as soon as Biden's in office, suddenly his jabby jabs. And all of a sudden the Democrats like, yes, everybody needs it. You shouldn't have a job. You shouldn't be able to raise your kids. Like, we're going to hunt you down and shoot you like a tranquilizer dart with these fucking things. Like, and you're like, so literally at the end of the day, everybody that was in the political spectrum that wasn't in our niche, in the couple niche communities that really bucked that system, everybody else got it, and it didn't matter. They were all claiming it was their side. Well, how 1984 is that shit? Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, yesterday we were fighting Eurasia and today we're fighting Asia, and it doesn't matter. It's always just the party.
Your Asia is my Asia. It's all our Asia. Let's live in Asia together.
Yeah. It's just do whatever the party says. Well, the party said, get your jibby jabs. And no matter whether you were red or blue, you were like, at some point in time, you were like, yes, the jibby jabs are for me. So that's as 1984 as that gets. Oh, it's about that time anyways, Cheney.
We are running over.
Thank you so much for coming. We didn't.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's okay.
I
happened. I already took care of it, but
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That happened before. And then the wifey already went to bed. So
you know how bad I am about reading stuff. Like, actually, I was watching this debate against another guy, and I was watching the kid he was debating, and it was driving me nuts because I could see the kid actually look over and read the chat, and he kept going, I'm sorry, what were you saying? It's like, because you were reading the chat, motherfucker. Like, you're talking to people. Look at them.
Read the room.
Look at the people talking to you.
Read the room.
That's one of the things that I've gotten so much better at over the last year of Secret Society of Good Guys. Used to be the worst. Like, the chat could just be tumbling by. Like, my eyes just, like, I would only see the three of you. I got so good at not even looking at my own head that I'm like, oh shit, the chat. And so I've gotten so much better at being like, okay, I'm producing. But when people come in the green room, I'll say,
yeah,
I never see them. I have to hear it, otherwise I'll never see it. I put on a tone so it goes like a ding dong. Otherwise, I won't ever see them.
And to our guests who are brave enough to speak at all, ever. I mean, that's for some people. They haven't done it. They haven't got enough hours in. They don't know how it works. We appreciate all the people who are jumping into verbal combat and all the other streams and platforms and trying it out, seeing how it feels. Not everyone's going to continue to do it. Not everyone's going to like it, but we want to hear more people with human voices
and opposition to everything.
Correct. Yes.
So it sounds, I mean, you just keep questioning it, keep researching it, keep looking it up, follow your intuition. I just, don't go blindly into anything. It's just, I don't know. It's where we're at. I think, but I also think if you have a spicy debate, I think that shit needs to happen sometimes. And when people can like handle it and not like, even if, voices get loud, if people can handle it and stay in the convo, everything that's usually said, if it hurts your side at all, you need to go do more research. And otherwise, it's like okay to change your mind about things. So I think that is like the important part of being in spaces sometimes, that it's just like, yeah, we might disagree about it, but it doesn't mean tomorrow I won't fully agree with you.
Yeah,
because usually we're just planting
like waffles.
seeds.
Some people like pancakes. Some people don't like bread at all, and they're allergic to gluten.
But most
They're
of the
not
things-
the enemy because they have a different
Yeah,
preference.
I've changed my mind about.
But the gluten, the ones that can't tolerate the gluten, that's like a weak species. The ones and the ones that can't eat cheese, and
We will debate
they
eugenicists.
probably
ideas.
should be just left to pass away from their weakness and their deformities.
Is that why China's so strong? Is because they only allow the strong to survive, and they
Even got rid of their girls for like 25, 30 years.
Right.
They were like, get
So
rid
build
of,
up
we
a
have too
military.
many girls.
Yeah.
It's ruining things. around
Like, we
here.
want a bunch of overly testosterone laden, angry young men ready to just tear things apart, and they ended up with a bunch of femboys.
But how do you explain K-pop? Can anyone explain Korean popular music?
I don't
at
even
all?
believe Korea's the way I look at Korea now, whatever North Korea was like, they're like, oh, that person's some angry person of history. It was a boogeyman, so they could pretend there was like a missile guy. And even Hollywood tried to sell us it. And then Hollywood, the part of the breakdown of Hollywood is like everybody's character, Trump walks over sandbag. And then North Korea never brought up again. Like literally like the fear of it. And then South Korea, probably, if the media, the way they talk about it and shove it in our face, there's a good chance it's probably just like Kamala's America.
Did the Koreans hack Sony's servers to get their movies, and then they stole the Hollywood secrets?
Funny
and
that
they
is.
used them against it.
No,
Yeah,
but they
funny.
did secretly move all of their weapons from North Korea into Russia. And that's why we need to annihilate Russia. Duh.
You remember that one missile that they were
That's
doing
what- well,
like a testing of, and it looked like a cardboard missile with kids in it?
Quickly, that's what American media is currently saying.
Yeah, they're trying to push World War III so bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's so bad.
North Korean weapons are now in Russia. And so all of the American bombs that have fallen 70 to 80 to 90 miles within the Russian interior have nothing to do with Russia. They're just because North Korean weapons were there. Duh. That's why we're illegally bombing a sovereign nation on their own territory, deep within it, because if they
After
didn't
breaking
have
the
North
after
Korean
breaking
weapons
the
there,
Tier
we
3,
wouldn't have a justification for it.
after breaking the treaty that says that UN associated people will never touch their soil, will never be interconnected, and then taking Ukraine and going, yeah, go ahead, come on in.
That was pillow talk, Ben. It was pillow talk. You can't take pillow talk seriously.
Like,
We're
what-
to motherfuckers.
Like what's fucked up is the entire reason for that part of the treaty was so that way Russia would never have missile somebody that was tied to their major enemy having missiles available on their border. And here we are dropping missiles into Russia from this country, touching their border, just like the whole thing that they talked about. It wasn't it Joe Biden that said Russia will never go to war as long as we stay out of the Baltic states and as long as NATO states out of the Baltic states. And is that the Baltic states that we're in and now Russia's wanting to fight? Well, it's like, oh my God.
Question from chat. What's my favorite Korean pop song? I don't know the name of the song. The artist Ali Minju. She found her on Instagram.
What's your favorite Christian Korean?
That is what I was going to say, Ben.
Her name is Ali Minju, Minju. She raps and she believes in YHVH.
Oh, Christy Krinkle had it also. Pink hand wave.
Yeah. She's not a half-bred Ephesians girly. It's at Ali Minju on Instagram and Threads.
Oh, shit. We love you guys. We're sorry that we didn't have the reparations debate. Steve was fucking firing. He was ready to and then didn't have it. And it freaking but he was ready. You could see the spirit was there. It would have been a fiery one. If that yellow belly Nico Haas ever decides to show his face around here, we'll see what happens. And thank you so much for coming in, Cheney. We would absolutely love to go over and chat with you on your show. I assume you can hear me.
We're recording it and play back. AI assistants will.
We'll wait till she gets over. She had to go pee.
Love the fireworks.
Yeah. Well, there was one time she was just looking down when Steve was going off for like 5 minutes. And I thought, is she froze? But I could see her background changing. I'm like, no, the background's changing because she did not move 1 inch. I was like, wow, for like a full minute. But the background was moving. I was like,
yeah. So background, there was that one clip of Elon Musk and I think Peter, they were in a room and there's a table in the background. There's like a King of Diamonds card above the guy's head. I was like, just let it go. Doesn't mean anything. Don't worry about that. Don't let, symbolism could be their downfall or it could mean nothing at all. Don't want to get sidetracked by backgrounds and background checks and early life histories on Wikipedia. That could really go bad for us if we.
Oh, nature versus nurture. That's a good one, Ryan. That's a real good one. I asked some other ladies to come on. Cheney can obviously come on that one. You're always welcome, Cheney, and we can't wait to go over and visit you. I was saying you had stepped off. I was saying thank you so much for coming on. Can't wait to go on with you and in the more normal time.
Yes, I don't care about I think it's fucking healthy, and I think that a lot of the times maybe men have these conversations and then both leave friends still, and because of kind of the soft world we're in, it's like we're uncomfortable. We're never talking again. Like, no, we can disagree about this one fucking thing because probably 90% of the other shit we agree on, so it's like, I don't know. We're all, I think it's healthy and people are kind of scared of it and they do it in an unhealthy way. And so it's like, no, I don't think it's a bad, and it's not like a bamboozle of like, no, here's what we're here to do.
Yeah. Well,
I actually did forget I was coming here to I'm like, oh, I forgot the name of the show. I always remember the Huskies. And because I think it's one of the cooler logos, like the dogs with the 3D glasses. And I was like, oh shit, like immediately, like, okay, let me change my whole. I was all indica, and I'm like, oh, I need a sativa joint for this.
You're like, Steve came out with the fucking cannons, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. This is supposed to be controversial. And
Yeah, I forgot where I was like, what's up?
That is a setting, and if you expect a debate and you don't get a debate, our audience is going to rage at us.
Yeah, I forgot what I was up to. I forgot the whole thing.
We do want to extend a proper invitation to Cheney for a Tuesday night. You choose a topic and then assign a position to us, and then we'll play with that. So
I'm so bad at it because I'll contrarian myself and then be like, oh, I just changed my mind in the middle of that sentence.
Did you ever play that game of Risk where you have territories and dice and you roll and you fight armies? If you play according to the rules where they randomly assign countries to people, and then it's a world domination game where you take it over instead of a draft format where you put your army where you want it, then everyone goes after Australia, or everyone chooses their favorite country to start with. When you are assigned a position that isn't your favorite, and then you're told to debate it, are you a bad guy for debating something you don't believe in? It's like, now play with that. Play with those feelings. See what that's like.
Australia is easy to hold because it's only one pinch point.
No, you can't talk about Australia. You've never been there.
It's only got one pinch
you don't
point,
even talk
but
like
if
you've
you
been to
get
Australia.
North and South America,
shut it down.
It's only got 3
No,
pinch
end the
points.
stream. No.
No. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Steve's like, oh yeah, that's me.
Thanks for having me.
Be good, kids. Be good. Nar.
Nar.
Nar, nar. Cheney, that's a really fucking funny story, by the way. Really
What one?
Story.
Are we off the stream?
Nar.
Nar.
Nar, it still says live.
Nar.
I have no attention span.
Okay, we can be off the stream now.